This is the X&C Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, X&C Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome to the X&C Podcast. I'm Colteastwood. This is episode 97. We're getting up on 100. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is, we've had a long weekend. Some of you may have had spring break, hanging out with your kids, spending quality time with your little babies or your puppy dogs or kitty cats, whatever you have at home. Mag, how you been on this long little holiday?
It's been wonderful. Been a great long weekend, and you know what? Episode 97. We are 3 away. Yes, the first one was what we're gonna execute Gaz. The second one, what we're gonna do on the show, we're gonna SWAT Randall Thor, and the third thing is I'm going to chainsaw all my arcade machines behind me live on the air, folks. It's gonna be an awesome 100th episode. I love building up an episode that's literally nothing like that's gonna happen. But anyways, it's been an absolutely wonderful long weekend. Great to be back on the show tonight. We got a lot of things to talk about. Some funny things to talk about. Some not so funny things to talk about. No, they're funny to us. But anyways, there's a lot of upset people out there, and I don't know why, but we're going to get into that. Chat, tell your friends to get in here, man. We had 1,100 last week. I want to see 1,500 in this chat this week. That's what I want to see. So tell your friends, get everybody out there, share this out. Let's get this party going. Colt, get into the show, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do that, Tell your kids to get the lunch lady on here watching X&C with two old gamers, two old ancient, we're vintiques, right? We're vintage.
Speaking of vintage, tonight's shirt of the week, I am wearing a 1979 Asteroids shirt. There it is.
Oh, nice. I got to look over here where I have the live monitor.
There you go. There it is. There's the Asteroids
I told Mag
shirt,
I'm not a fan of the Asteroids game, and he's like, why? And I'm like, even when I was a little kid, I would last 30 seconds before I get blown to pieces from all the projectiles, but I don't know. That was my Dark Souls back in the day. I started on an Intellivision, Mag. What was your? You said Pong was your first one,
but it wasn't mine. It was my uncle's. So what we did.
So what was your first one then? You told the Pong story a couple weeks ago, when you debuted on the show. But what was your first? My family owns this gaming console.
Console was the NES. But we had a PC before that. We had it was called 1982. We had a thing called the PC Junior. Anybody old enough to remember that thing? It was like $2,000 in 1982. So today that's like, I don't know, like $4 or $5 million. Anyways, all joking aside,
could it do ray tracing though?
Yeah. It was 128K memory. That's what it had. And of course, the first games we played on it were King's Quest. I mentioned that before. The old Sierra games. King's Quest, Space Quest, Police Quest, basically all the quests. Leisure Suit Larry. We played the original Frogger was on there. And you know what the hilarious thing is? I don't know if you remember this, but I had Frogger, and it was on an audio cassette. So you had to put the audio cassette. Have you ever seen this?
I've never played a game on a cassette, but we played on the 8-inch floppies. I was on a Commodore 64 for a while before we actually gamed on an IBM with an amber monochrome computer. Man, those like the old days. And Detective Seed says, "Yo, Mag," he says, "keep showing the Asteroid shirt, and the ladies are going to come sprinting home from bingo to watch the show." Shout out to Detective Seeds. Let me read off. I had to add, Mag, one of my really good friends that's been a channel member for a year and a half. He has not been on my list by some weird mistake, but he's Red Wolf is finally on the list. So let me read these people out. I'm getting pretty good at reading them quickly, but you guys are amazing. Thanks for hit the like button. We're gonna have a good show. I'm gonna read these names off, and then I'm gonna tell Mag and all of you the stuff we're going to be covering, so you know what you're sitting and waiting for. Shout out to Mark Carwell, KY Bob, Assassin Lupa, Jazz Newtbox, Ricky Fallon, Manic Master, Jason Lewan, Mo B, Dean Sidegrove, Matt Burns, William Lanza, Udani Kazadi, Nano Polymyth, Suicide King, Red Wolf, Robert Jackson, Lord Starkiller, Dante Moody, Betamax, Dark CMF, Gas, Fox Storytelling, Reek Havits, Fault Line, Zenner White, Devario 2 Gaming, Acute Perspective, True 77, Risk It for the Biscuit, Micah Ford, Red Source, Dave UK, Quince Harmony, Attitude Deer, Pesky Krogan, Panda Bamboo. I've almost had these memorized. You guys are so awesome. Trail Robert, Scrub Nurse, Neil B, Boba Fett Gaming, Macbound, Meat Puppet, Kung Fu Hot Dog, Mag's favorite name, International Xbox, Alan Aldetri, thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Meg, let me tell you what we're going to talk about. The first thing we're going to start about is the whole Redfall debacle. We're going to get some footage on screen so you guys can see what we're talking about and what you have to look forward to. We're going to talk about how Forbes reported on it too. We're going to talk about how Xbox is actually leading the market globally in a way no one expected. We're going to talk about Colin Moriarty interviewing Hoag's Law about publishers, and Xbox is not done buying studios or publishers. It's going to get really spicy in here. And we're going to talk about how PlayStation's Jim Ryan says they will not recover if Xbox gets this deal. They're still trying last-ditch efforts. We're going to talk about the pitiful ridiculousness of that. And we're going to talk about some of the other claims that PlayStation is making, but also about Joseph Staten, where he's going, why he's leaving the Xbox, what's in the future for that studio and where he's heading to, and some stuff about Fable, Avowed, and Starfield in the Xbox Showcase. And that's pretty much what we're going to get into today. Meg, what game? Tell me one game that you've been playing lately. It's been a busy week.
It's been a busy week, but I finally got my 1,000 out of 1,000 on Hogwarts Legacy. So it's done. It took me about 110 hours to get it done proper. Because I could have cut like 20 hours out of that, but like I really was exploring every inch of the map. I checked everywhere, I did everything, and like I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. So like for me, it was a pleasure. It wasn't really much of a grind. The only thing that bothered me were the last 3 achievements where you had to go back and play like the first hour and a half of the game in a different house. Like that was absolutely
to get the other achievements.
It was absolutely unnecessary. What they could have done is just say, get sorted into Slytherin, get sorted into Hufflepuff, get sorted into Ravenclaw or Gryffindor. They could have just left it at that. Like they didn't have to make you replay the same hour and a half missions over and like literally 4 times over. And I'm like, this is so ridiculous. But I mean, I just kind of did it like half asleep.
And that intro is not fun the second time around, or
no. Oh yeah, try it the 4th, Colt. Yeah, try it on the 4th time you're doing it. Oh my god,
such a great game though. You got all 1,000 G on it, huh?
Yes, I got all 1,000. Yeah. I'm a completionist. That's how I roll. My next one is going to be a little bit more difficult. I am playing. Of course, this is on the PS5 though because my GameShare partner bought it for me. Thank you, by the way. And they bought me a Resident Evil 4. So I am going to be getting the platinum on Resident Evil 4. But man, to do that, you got to play the game at least 6 times. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do it, Colt.
I know. So have fun.
I did that. And then on top of that, besides the gaming, so now I just started that. I just started that yesterday. So I'm doing that now. I'm concentrating on that before all the other stuff starts coming out. We got our Dead Island 2 coming in a few weeks. I got Burning Shores DLC coming for Horizon Forbidden West. We've got Jedi Survivor coming. And, of course, we've got Redfall, which we're going to get into shortly. And then what else did I do? I went to the movies to go see the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Let's talk about, they were just asking in the chat, let's talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie. I went reluctantly. I knew it would be good. We went Saturday, right before this Redfall thing happened on my Twitter account, which we'll get into in a minute. But let me start first because I know your reaction without even asking you. I was like this. Okay. All right.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, this.
Did you watch it?
It was a lot of fan service, like the way Donkey Kong came in. The way all the characters come in, right? It's all this fan service and the little nods to the music thing, you know. I'm like, oh, this is, Chris Pratt's doing a great job, really good. He's like really enjoyable to listen to. They're doing a good job with the movie. It was just it was what you expect. I guess it was what I would expect from a Mario Brothers movie, but it is killing it. It's making so much money. It's like beat Frozen 2. Frozen 2 sucks. I hate that movie. Frozen 1's awesome. Well,
it a surprise?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I think I liked Sonic more because Sonic was really, really funny.
Well, Sonic is a little bit different because
Who was it that voiced
more
Sonic?
Of a film that I don't remember who voiced Sonic. But it's more geared towards like a mixture of young adults to adults.
Sure.
And a little bit with the children. This is 100% a children's movie. Like this is a movie that's made for like the 5,
like even the Lego movies have some of that like balance you're talking about for.
Right.
So what did you think of it?
I liked it. It was for 5 to 10-year-olds. That's what it is. And I took my kids who are in that range, that age range. So it was fine. And it was exactly what I expected. But the thing is, it comes as no surprise. I'm not going to get into the politics. I know some people in the chat are going to love it. They'll be like, oh, come on, man, get into the politics. I'm not going to.
Politics? There's politics to this?
Not in this. The politics of what's going on in Hollywood with all the crap that's going on, and you wonder why Disney movies are tanking. Nod, nod, wink, wink. We all know why. And then all of a sudden, you get this movie this new movie alone, which was just a straight right down the middle of the road. No virtue signaling nonsense, garbage crap. It was just a movie made for kids about a hero who went in and did their thing. They even gave props to Princess Peach, and she did her thing, and there was no problems with any of it. And guess what? It outgrossed the last 3 Disney movies combined. So you tell me what's up. But anyways, that's besides the point. The point is the movie's great, but what I'm really interested in is the future and what they're doing right now. What they're calling is, I spoke to some people that are working in Hollywood, and they were telling me that what they have planned, and by the way, another thing, this is a funny side note. The Illumination writers' room actually had a bunch of stuff kind of shoved into the script, while Nintendo was peeved.
Like, knocking it away.
They went in, they said, get this, literally word for word, Miyamoto himself apparently was, they were all talking, and they said, and one of them actually said in the meeting, said, get this crap out of here. And make this a simple film. This is a film for kids, and they scrapped like half the script. I know a script doctor who works down there. He lives up here in Canada, but anybody who knows who he is, I'm not gonna say who he is. But anyways, he has his own YouTube channel. But anyway, the point is that they scrapped half the script and they rewrote it because Nintendo said absolutely not. You go back and rewrite this and make it a simple children's film. And they did.
Really have to make the movie really good. Leaning back and taking on the story, especially when you pour in those 3D animated visuals. The movie's really nice to look at. It's really clean. Beautiful. It's just really poppy, and like a good Disney movie, like they spend so much time animating. That story has to be really great. And what was the last? I don't want to get into movies too long, but I don't know, but
this is interesting. I got something for you.
What was it? The Infinity movie. Lightyear movie. I liked the Lightyear movie mostly. I don't know. It's been kind of rough there. And there's Red Wolf in the chat. Let me read a couple supers. We're going to get into gaming and get off of the movie stuff here.
But before you do that, let me say this last thing. I want to say this last thing. They're creating something called the NCU, and it is happening. And
Nintendo
it was based on. Yes, and it's going to be called. I'm not kidding. I'm not making this up. It hasn't been announced, but I'm telling you right here. This is the first you're hearing of it. It's going to be called the NCU. And it's going to be the Nintendo Cinematic Universe, and they're going to move forward with all their other IPs like Metroid, Zelda.
Star Fox.
They're going to move Star Fox, Donkey Kong, and then here's the plan for like 5 to 10 years down the road. I'm not kidding. They're going to make a Super Smash Brothers film of all those characters combined. I'm surprised
there wasn't a Super Smash Brothers scene, like a little. I mean, they started to, but they're waiting, huh?
They're modeling it after the first three. The first 3. Let's face it, the first 3, because 4 and on, you can put them in the recycling bin. But the first 3 phases, they're modeling it after the first 3 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they're going to be utilizing the properties again in conjunction with Illumination. So that is going to happen, but it's going to take quite a while. A lot of it was banking on the success of this film. But anyways, enough of that. That's your little scoop for today, folks. But anyways, Colt, get into the super chats. Let's get into the show.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into Nintendo games going on Xbox. I always thought, man, Nintendo, if you threw your games on the other platforms, you'd make so much money, but that's another topic for another day. John TJ with a $5 super says, hi, Cole. Hi, Mag. If Chris Farley was still alive, he could easily replace Jim Ryan and run Sony better. Laugh out loud. No, Jim Ryan's running PlayStation really, really well. They're just looking super desperate. We'll get into that later. They're doing anything they can to make this deal as bad for Xbox as possible before they bounce. But with that comes some investigations. So Risk It for the Biscuit, who's been a channel member for 19 months, which is about how long Risk It was gestated before he was born. He's a cool dude. He says, I played on the Commodore 64, and you'd wait 30 minutes to find the cassette. They had they wind it back with a pencil to try again. You couldn't rewind it in your tape machine. That's weird. He says, I'll see you in LA, Colt. Yes. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see each other. I'm pretty sure I'm going. KY Bob with the $5 super says the next 2.5 weeks are going to be insane. April 18th is Minecraft Legends. April 21st is Dead Island 2. He forgot in a couple days is Ghostwire Tokyo on Xbox. And you're getting like the definitive version on Xbox. It comes with all the content, I think. April 28th, he says, is Jedi Survivor. Let's go. I'll just say something kind of controversial. I'm really looking forward to Jedi Survivor, and it sounds like it is like the best Star Wars game we're going to get in a long time, but I just can't help being more excited for Dead Island 2. I just am.
Oh, can't wait. Yeah, the Dead Island, first of all, I was a huge fan of Dead Island, and what was the other one? The heck was the second one called? No, the second Dead
Riptide. Riptide was so crappy, but I enjoyed it so much.
It's still fun. It was still fun. It was great. So, I mean, and the thing is, with this game, it's going to be fun, but you know what the big seller is too? The fact that it's going to be online co-op. I mean, that you can go in there with your friends and just wreak havoc. It's not an open world, guys. I don't know if you guys saw the preview today. It's more linear than you think.
Dead Island never was. Dead Island 1 and Riptide were sectioned off like open areas that were continued, by loading screens and stuff, but which probably better that way, right, Mag?
You know what? It makes it less. It makes it like, I mean, I like open world games, but I like open world games by myself. You know what I mean? I don't want to be like, over here and then some guy's like, I'm like, dude, I need your help. And he's 6 blocks away. Yeah, he's like 6 blocks away, like tossing furniture in our house because he's looking for like treasure. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. Which is going to take us into our Redfall conversation later. But yeah, that's a whole other thing.
No tether on Redfall. I didn't even say what game I'm playing. I kind of have been meandering about, but I just got to give a shout out to 2 of my kids who've been playing Fortnite with me almost every night. And I know when you say Fortnite, you sound like a weirdo or you like little kid games, but the no build, jumping in with 100 people and, guns only or swords, we're just having a great time. My kids carry me half the time and we've had so much fun. I don't know. It's just really fun to sit down and play games with those kids. They're awesome. Let's see. Where was I? We got Brad Ward Fight, who says, great show. Love it. And he gives the love it. Thank you so much for the Canadian. Canadian? How did I not
there's a lot
know?
of us,
I didn't know Brad was, I thought he was down in Washington.
Well, but he's up. Maybe he was down there spying for us and then bringing the information back to me.
Well, probably. And then Red Wolf, who's been a channel member for 11 months and finally got Red live on the air. What a disservice I've done to him for at least 3 months. But he says, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for He wrote Redwire, but he meant Redfall. Redfall. Oh, wait a minute. He's messing with me. He says, I'm so excited for Redwire, Minecraft Tokyo, Benedict Falls, Fable Infinite Season 3, Jedi Yoda Rising, Far Steeled, Diablo 4 DLC, The Rim, Ryaning so hype. The Rim Giant. Dang it!
The Rim Giant. Jeez.
I don't know if I feel like I shouldn't say that, Mag.
Red Wolf, that was a very difficult super chat to read. You should, I think you should pay us another $5 to read that again because that was very difficult.
Eternal Shout out, thank you for the 5. Says Nintendo didn't hire Mag for Animal Crossing's voiceover. Blasphemy. Give us a little Animal Crossing voiceover, Mag.
Dude, I've been practicing, and when the movie comes out in about 4 or 5 years, you go it's so easy. I can do it. Anyways, they're not gonna do an Animal Crossing movie. That's not part of the thing. And the thing is, the people that were doubting in the chat, I saw a few of you in there going, Nintendo's not doing this. I got people in the writing room, guys. Nintendo is doing this, and they're doing it with Illumination. So relax. It's happening. It's just a matter of when. They were just waiting on the returns of this movie, which has already broken records, and now it's already making a profit after 4 days. So it's a done deal.
It did like 3 times more than Shazam did in the opening weekend.
Well, and then you've got what's his name? You go, what the heck is his name? Donkey Kong there.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah. You got Seth Rogen.
You know what?
He's a big producer now. He's in on it.
I want to say something that only somebody as old as you and I would understand. I thought the voice of Donkey Kong was Cliff from Dead Man on Campus. And you'd have to be as old as me to know what that movie is. It came out in like 99 or 2000. It's got Zach from Saved by the Bell, and him and his buddy in college are flunking. So they find if your roommate passes away, you get automatic A's. So they go looking for a psychotic, suicidal roommate for their college so that they can get A's. And one of them is this guy.
Horrifying.
It's hilarious. So what they do is they break in and they get the medical records for people that are dealing with depression, and they end up finding this like drinking crazy guy named Cliff that's really funny. And I thought it was his voice. I'm like, Seth Rogen? I'm not a big fan, but I thought it was going to be this guy that's hilarious who, if you know Titan Drago, they sound the same. Get Titan Drago to voice Donkey Kong. How about that?
Are you out of your mind? I have to listen to that screeching, and I was like, barrels.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
I did 3 years of shows with Titan. I know I've lost half my hearing because of that guy. Anyways, carry on.
Guy's crazy, man. Let's talk about the gaming news. Redfall was showcased an IGN first, where they get exclusive, hands-on exclusive gameplay of Redfall, and boy, oh boy, for 3 minutes did they mess it up. Probably the worst gameplay. Let's put it on screen so you guys can see it.
Do we have to?
We absolutely have to, because I know a lot of people might click on this for about 10 seconds and leave. Gameplay it's not always really enjoyable to watch, but they do everything wrong in this gameplay. Let me read the top comment. This video has about 1,500 likes and 15,000 dislikes. Holy crap. Here's what the top comment says. Why are you fighting a giant boss inside a cramped house? Why are you running away from the boss? Why are you shooting aim down sights when your team gets killed? Why are you lockpicking a door mid-combat instead of rezzing teammates? Why are you throwing your translocator and then not using it? Why are you sniping an enemy at 3 feet in front of you? Why did you take the killing blow when you barely contributed to anything? So, Mag, this is the worst gameplay showing. And according to what I know from talking to and working with the communications team and the PR team for Redfall and Arcane, this is the first time that anyone has recorded their own gameplay. IGN got it first exclusive rights to play this segment, record it themselves, and post it on their channel. And I don't know who they got to play it, but this person is terrible at video games. And I'm just going to ask you straight up, Mag, did they pick someone or purposely sabotage this to make the game look bad, or do they just have incompetent people working at IGN on this game or on this coverage?
You know, the thing is, when it comes to gameplay footage, you might want to pick something that would be a little bit, well, it depends on what they've got invested, right? Like, so for example, my guess is the gameplay that they picked, they were thinking to themselves, well, let's focus on getting a big boss so it looks like, you know what I mean, like something more enticing or whatever.
Sure.
What they didn't realize is that people were not watching the big boss. They're watching this clown literally running in circles, right? And it was exhausting to watch. And I'm like going, what am I watching? I watched like 3 minutes of this guy running in circles, and I'm like, listen, I'm not going to make any judgments about this game until it's in my hands, and I'm going to play the game. I've said that a million times before. I'm going to say it again. I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not going to argue with people on Twitter and on YouTube and this and that, or on live on shows. I am going to wait until the controller's in my hand and I turn the thing on and I get to play it myself. However, watching this was not doing this game any favors.
A chore. It was a chore to watch.
It was exhausting, and it was a chore. And I'm like, what is going on? And what happened? And what that does is that it gives people a false representation of what the game is actually like, because you're basing it on, like, you could, if you ever watch someone play a platform game who doesn't know how to play a platform game,
right,
it would literally turn you off from playing a platform game just based on watching them. Like, for example, I love my wife is an amazing gamer. She is. She really is. She got 1,000 of 1,000 on Hogwarts as well. But you know what she really sucks at? And she always admits it. She goes, I cannot play platform games. Like, you know, like Mario games and all that stuff.
Sure.
There's something about the timing and the moving platforms. She just can't negotiate the moves. And so she's just like, and after about 4 minutes, I'm like, I'm done, and I have to leave.
I can't watch anymore.
I can't watch anymore.
Yeah.
This is the reason why I brought that up. Obviously, not to publicly shame my wife's platforming game skills. She's probably listening right now. Hi, honey, love you. Anyways, here the thing is that brings right back to this IGN article and this gameplay. It does the same thing, and what it did, and I'm like, I can't relate to the way that this person was playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that I look at. I wouldn't play like that, right? So I couldn't relate to it, and therefore it turned me off. And then but I'm not saying anything about it because I'm not going to be a buffoon and go on, Twitter and everywhere else and go, sucks, because of one person's gameplay.
Well, the worst
I'm going
part
to
of
look at it and go, that wasn't very good, but let's see what happens when the game comes out. Let's see other gameplay. The fact that they're showing this game so early means they've got faith in it. The fact that they flew you out 3 weeks ago, whatever, like 2 months before the game came out, means they have faith in it, right?
I mean, they put up 2 new gameplay segments on their own channel this weekend, along with this IGN First. But I'm playing it again here for a second because there's like 6 different cuts in this 3-minute footage. So if they fought this rook for 8 to 10 minutes, they cut this up to make it look better than it was originally. Like, it's really, really clumsy.
It's very clumsy. So
the rook is actually a boss that I think, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, the rook is the boss that shows up when you've killed enough main vampires. A meter fills up at the top, and then you spawn the rook and you have to deal with him. It's like a risk reward. And then he drops legendary gear. But this gameplay was horrid. What ended up happening was they put this footage up on like a Friday and it got severely downvoted. And because of the hive mind and the lemming nature of human beings on social media, once the game started getting dislikes as people started to talk about it, it became the cool thing to go there and join in and pile on the dog pile with the dislikes. And also for good reason, because the footage looks bad. Now, Redfall, is not one of those games that visually is going to blow you away from everything that's coming out this year. Like, it's a middle ground or higher middle ground game as far as visuals. So, but that's always been Arcane's thing. Deathloop, Dishonored, Prey, like they always have this certain visual art style. But this game, normally the gameplay has mostly been highly favored. The previews for the game are very highly favored. They sent out all those people. The previews are really positive. We are expecting collectively, like Mag and I have been talking about this, and some of my other friends that I podcast with or do YouTube, like we are expecting somewhere around an 80 or a low 80, at the very lowest, a 78. I think.
I think high 70s to low 80s is the range.
Sure.
Where I think it's going to sit. Now, someone said it a little while ago, and I thought it was really funny. And I'm not defending or whatever, or even like Xbox and what they're doing in their first party. But there is something to be said about what people have called the Xbox tax. Right? So like if a game seems to be like, if a game's a 90, you have to add Xbox tax to it. Now it's an 86, right? Because there always seems to be something, it just seems to be there. By the way, I just want to highlight this one thing, even though it's not a super chat. Charlie Hustle said the best thing that I've seen so far tonight, other than someone else saying that Mag was very handsome. It says, good Lord, we go through this every time Xbox drops a game. Or Game Pass drops something new. Can we just wait until it releases? Thank you, Charlie Hustle. That's exactly what I'm trying to get at from day one. Can we just relax? Why are people arguing about something that's not out yet? Colt, that's like you and I arguing, okay? It's like you and I arguing about Spider-Man 2 that comes out in 7 months. We haven't played it. Like it's like arguing about a film you haven't seen yet.
I mean, we both said,
what are you doing?
We're both said it'll probably end up being in the same map for Spider-Man, but maybe they'll do something different, or possibly this multiverse will be a big deal. But you just have to wait and see. Like, you don't harp on and on. So now what we're looking at is the gameplay that was provided from Arcane. I went to LA about 3 weeks ago, and I played an hour and a half of the game. We weren't allowed to record, so the footage was provided to us. And so Saturday morning, when this Redfall debacle got way out of hand and everyone was just trashing it, I grabbed the combat montage, which is on screen right now, well, it's about to be, this is like my melee montage. And then right after it is the combat montage that I put together to show people, because I wasn't allowed to record my own footage, but when I played the game, the gunplay felt really great. And in fact, I died a few times because the enemies are very aggressive. The stuff they showed, Mag, it's got to be said, I think the gameplay that they provided to us was set on an easier setting, because a lot of the enemies aren't, it's buffering a little bit, a lot of the enemies are not very aggressive in this footage, or sometimes they're not moving a lot, or they're not very aware. The game wasn't like that. When I was attacking enemies, I had to be quick, and I didn't want to die because you have to run all the way back from the spawn. So, yeah. So this footage I showed blew up. There are almost 400,000 views on Twitter. Gosh darn, wish that was a YouTube video. And Forbes and Yang Ye report on. Do you remember, what can you tell me from some of the reports once I put that footage up on social media, Mag? Were you following that?
I had a field day reading those comments. Some people actually quote tweeted you and everything else like that. Twitter is my place of choice where I even put my content. I don't put my stuff on YouTube. So I put it on Twitter because I think it's funny. But anyways, the comments, the retweets were hilarious. There was one guy who literally said that you needed to be, you need to be charged. That's right, folks, charged because you were breaking NDA, and the only people that had access to it was IGN, and therefore Colt needs to be charged. Take him away in shackles, folks, and then put him in prison. Maybe hang him in the town square. What needs to be done. Hang the pirate. But anyways, that it was really, really funny, and they were calling you a fraud. They were calling you all these different things. And
they call me a liar. They're saying Cole lies again. The misinformation. The funny thing is, this comes from these dumpster diving trash Twitter accounts that have had me blocked for years. And they're like, misinformation. If they didn't have me blocked, if they paid attention, they would know that I was flown out to LA. I put up a preview that has 40,000 views. People that watched my preview video. I edited the footage together myself, and they're like, well, Colt's pretending like it's his footage, which is total cognitive dissonance, that they think whatever I said implied that it was my gameplay, when I said I put together a montage of the combat and it feels really great. And they're like, well, you're assuming. I'm like, dude, I played the game. I don't know what to tell you. What a freaking mess. Paul Tassi from Forbes put out an article the other day saying Redfall is getting, let's see if I have it here. He says, I will say that any game can probably look bad depending on the segment you're playing. The IGN footage was in a somewhat bland open space fighting a tanky mini-boss, as opposed to Colt's fast, fun individual clips, but also on how it's played. This feels like a game we're going to need to get our hands on for ourselves, and given that it's launching on Game Pass, there's not a $70 commitment to need to make to play. Well, you need to make the play. Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. The thing is, I could pretty much vouch for almost everybody in this chat here that at one time or another, or at some point, everybody's had a subscription to Game Pass. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to the XNC podcast, right? So you probably have Game Pass at some point, if not currently, right? Therefore, there really is no excuse other than to just try it and see what happens. The thing is, at the end of the day, it all boils down to the user experience, how the mass market deals with it, how the public finds it. For example, I'll bring it up again, even though we've already talked about it and we moved on from it. But the Mario movie was review bombed by a lot of reviewers because it, a lot of shills for different companies.
It was like 98% user score though, but yeah, it was crazy.
But did you see the Rotten Tomatoes? It's
the Rotten Tomatoes critic had it like at 58% or 48% or something by the time I would see it.
54 when I first saw it, and it dropped to like 50% or something like that, right?
I'll do a poll while you're about what we think this thing is going to score. But go ahead.
That's what I'm saying, Colt. So like you look at a situation like that. Now all of a sudden the film breaks all records. The people have spoken. It's going to be the same thing. If the game connects with the public, then that's all that matters. Another example is, even though I don't play it, it's not my jam, but I would never trash anybody for loving it, is Sea of Thieves. I don't like Sea of Thieves. I know, I understand. I've played it. I played it a couple times. I put in about 10 hours into that game. So I think that's a fair amount of time that I invested in Sea of Thieves, and it's just not for me, right? And that's totally fine. I know people who streams a Sea of Thieves still to this day, every single week, like Wandering Dutch. Shout out to Wandering Dutch. He does that every week. He does a stream about Sea of Thieves with his other friends. Great, right? Not for me. But you know what? There were 20 other million people who did play it, and they turned it into a wild success that, what is it, 5 years now, 6 years now? They are still updating that game.
It's super successful. Yeah, and it's not my jam either. I play it with my kids, and we have a good time. But yeah, it's not my jam.
And it got trashed by the critics. It got trashed by the media. It was
light at launch. It was light at launch.
It was. But in the end of the day, there was enough there for the public to say, you know what, I see potential. And they saw potential, and it grew from there. This may be the same thing, or maybe it falls flat on its face. We don't know. We can't say that. And I'm not talking the game falling flat on its face. I'm just saying maybe it doesn't grip the public. We don't know that. We can't we can't shill and just say it's going to be the greatest thing of all time. Like, you can,
that's true. I mean, we all have a pretty good idea, and I'm looking at the chat, and they're writing numbers that I would say, they're very reasonable. I think they have really smart Well, we know they have smart expectations. They're one of the best audiences around.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they've got great scores. What's the poll sitting at if I click this thing here? It's at, they think it's going to be anywhere from 80 to 90. I know it's a big slot to vote on, but a lot of high 80s. I really do think that there may be some things like Arcane doesn't miss, but every studio has one game that doesn't quite do as well as the rest. And like Insomniac has Fuse, which is like a high 60, I think. And then the rest of their games are in the 80s. But is this going to be Arcane's lowest rated game? Because they normally sit around 88, Mag. Hey, hit the like button if you're having a good time. We got 1,000 people here. Thank you so much for being here on a day where the news is kind of all over the place. We really appreciate it. Mag, tell them how much we appreciate him. Tell them to hit the like button. I mean, they got to do it.
Guys, we hit the 1,000 already. We got 1,000 people in this chat right now. Hit that like button. Look, we're sitting at much lower than 1,000. I'll tell you that much. But listen, we're pouring our hearts and souls into this show, folks. And you know what? Every single one of you, we appreciate every single one of you guys out there. And I'm telling you, it's great. But anyways, listen, I want to just say one more thing about this.
Go ahead.
Before I forget, Halo Infinite to me and to a lot of people, I thought was a fabulous game. I thought it was a fabulous game. I thought it was one of the best Halos I've played. I mean, I know people can go back and say, oh, Halo 3, and, whatever. I love those games too. But guess what? Halo Infinite for me was I thought it was a fantastic game. I got 100% on that, not in the multiplayer achievements, mind you. That was really difficult. But like the game itself, I love the way it did. I've spent dozens and dozens and dozens of hours in there and whatever. But guess what? At the end of the day, the community kind of just fell off. There wasn't enough support, this and that. So the thing is, what ends up happening here, this game is going to have a lot of support right out the gate. You have a great game already. It looks like a pretty complete, a complete story and everything else like that. People are going to be involved. But what's going to keep them there in the long run? They're going to have to release DLC along the way and keep the game entertaining and fresh.
Maybe. I'm not quite sure what post-content launch content looks like, but hold on, who wrote this? Charlie Hustle said Colt is projecting doubt. Let me give a little speech here because I'm trying to be as reasonable as possible because I got to tell you, I played Prey in 2017 or 2016. It was 2016. Yep. I played Prey when it came out. I did not like the game at all. And Dealer was telling me when it was getting FPS boost, he's like, Colt, start the game over, play it again. It's amazing. And I go, nothing about it. I played like 3 hours, and he's like, you have to get past that first section. The game is incredible. I'm like, all right. I started over, and I did all the stuff I did before when the game launched. This was like last year. And I got past that one spot. I'm like, okay. Prey became one of my absolute favorite games. But at the beginning, I didn't like it. Now, let me explain why I'm saying that, because when I played Redfall, picture it. I'm there in LA. They say you have an hour and a half, and I'm rushing. I'm trying to go here, or should I go there? Or I'm trying to enjoy this over here. And I felt like I did not even get an hour and a half. I felt like I did not even get to really play the game. You have to understand when I say I did not get to, the only thing I got to experience was the I think, fantastic gunplay. And Layla's powers, where I brought out the umbrella and tried to project bullets back, like I wasn't even properly doing it because I didn't want to stop to read tutorials because I felt like I had to play as quickly as possible. So I feel like my time, I was under the gun and I felt like I didn't get to even play the game. There was one segment where I went into a parking garage out away from the main quest, and I was in there checking stuff out, and there was like vampires skulking around, talking to themselves in the dark, and I was like, this is so cool. And then I felt like I got to get going or the clock's going to be over and I'm going to go home and I won't get to play this again. So I really, truly don't know what to tell you other than I know Arcane never misses. This game is going to do things and right now on screen, if it syncs up with what I'm saying, you're seeing the fourth dimension, like the other dimension of the mix between the Redfall city and the vampire world where it melds together. You got a theater where you can see the grass in a cave. That's all. Like there's going to be these experiences that that haven't been fleshed out yet. We haven't experienced. Like this game's going to do really well. The funny thing is, Mag, is they want so badly, the PlayStation guys want this to be our Forspoken. Forspoken came out, was getting horrible reviews across all of the gameplay showcases. The game got a 64 or a 66 Metacritic or something. Redfall is not, there we are at the end of the thing here. Redfall is not in that situation. Let me change back to here. That's not Redfall.
Funny, Colt? You know what's funny is that now that you mention that, wasn't it just a month ago that they were all moaning and complaining, saying, there was a PS5 version and we were robbed of it. Then all of a sudden this IGN footage come out and they're going, it's trash, it's going to be trash. And I'm like, weren't you guys just literally 3 weeks ago saying that it was going to be, that you were upset that you didn't get the PS5 version that was in production, that was already being developed. And now all of a sudden they show this, they show this footage and now it's trash. Right? So, like, make up your minds, guys. It's one of the other.
They need it to be trash, Mag. Let's just be honest. It's got to be trash for them.
Why do you think I make Ponymaster 420, which I haven't done in a while, but I mean, my Ponymaster 420 videos, why do you think I make those? Specifically because of people like that. Why does Gaz make sauce videos? Because of people like that. Who say why do
I tell people every day that Redfall or Starfield or whatever is Xbox exclusive? They hate it. It burns them right in the bathing suit area. It hurts so bad. They hate the word. They hate the word Xbox and exclusive because for a long time they didn't think Xbox should have exclusives, and they don't like the name Xbox being associated with gaming. They'd rather call it Microsoft exclusive because they want Xbox out of the way. So does PlayStation and Jim Ryan, which we're going to talk about as well.
Man, this doesn't. But this is not. Let's be clear, though. Let's be clear to everybody in this. The 1.1 thousand people in the chat. Listen. Let's make it absolutely clear. I have at least 200 or 300 people on my PlayStation that are friends of mine that I play PlayStation with and this and that, whatever. Guess what? They're awesome. They're amazing people.
Of course.
They're great people. They're wonderful people.
98% of the fans on PlayStation platform or Xbox are incredibly awesome and love the hobby. It's that 3%, Aaron Greenberg told me.
It's the very vocal 3%. It's just like it's just like everywhere you go. Listen, I have a job where I have hundreds of people and there's the same 3 to 5%, and it's the same people that complain. And moan, and I won't even say the other words that of all the things that they do. And it's the same people. And you know what? One day I turned around because someone else said that to me. I said, "We don't listen to people like you." Yeah, and it shocked the hell out of them. And you know what? And I didn't have to explain myself because no matter what you do, it's never going to be good enough for those people, right? And it's never going to be the same. And we can run in circles about the goalpost being moved over and over and over and over, and it's fine. Let them do it. But the best thing to do at the end of the day, on top of making fun of them, because it's always fun to make fun of them. I know people say ignore them. Remember like The Simpsons? Just don't look. Just don't look. Like on The Simpsons? Don't. No, you got to look sometimes because it's hilarious. People are like, please stop bringing these people to light. But I'm like, but bring them to light. It makes them more upset. Don't you guys know how to antagonize bullies? I antagonize the hell out of bullies. I love doing it. It's my hobby.
I mean, I used to, Meg. I muted so many people this weekend because there really was, I see a lot of my mentions, and it really was 50% were like, Colt, your gameplay looks fire, like True77 just said in the chat. And then there's the other half says, this game looks like dog crap. It looks boring. Like I said earlier, some of the footage that I put up that was provided to me, the enemies were like not aware. And I did not experience that in the game. And what happens often when you get these gameplay segments, they'll record themselves playing easy mode so they can rip through enemies, so they can show you how quick and fast you can kill in the game. But someone also mentioned earlier in the chat a long time ago that Polygon put up Doom 2016 footage that looked so bad, people were really wondering if that game was going to be great or if it was going to suck, and it ended up being really great.
It was amazing.
It's amazing. Fantastic. I mean, I kind of like it more I kind of like it more than Doom Eternal because it was just very simple and the way it did everything.
Funny you say that. 2016 Doom was better for me than the second one. It just skill of will. I saw what you said. Awesome. He said confirmed Mag is a closet pony. But anyways,
depends on when that camera's on, right, Mag?
Yeah. Well, depends on what's going on. Yeah, there's the Tower of Power is behind me there somewhere. So lurking, it might attack me if I don't feed it soon. That thing is so gigantic. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get into the other stuff, man. We got some more. We got some serious things to talk about. Let's go.
Angry Hippie with the $5 says Nintendo bought an animation studio that works closely with Illumination. Mag is right, so he's confirming your. Nice, huh? Well, KY Bob says I'm gonna have to carry Colt in Dead Island 2 the way I carried him in State of Decay 2. I am a Jedi Master in zombie games. Mag is a great fit. I think he means for the show. That's pretty nice. Thank you.
Oh, either that or he's talking about the bikini that I just bought. But either way, it works. Either way,
you're a great fit.
I'm going to the Caribbean in about a month and a half. I got to get in a bikini shape. So yeah, you guys will see what great fit I am in about 6 weeks. Carry on, Cole.
Fire71, who's been channel member for 8 months, says, my man, Colt, Mag, you are the best. Off topic, I'm sure, but Colt, as a fellow Far Cry lover, I'm playing Far Cry 6 right now, wondering how many hours you had in it. Probably 30 plus, almost 40. I played a lot of it in co-op with Dealer and Chris Grinnell, and then played a lot alone, so there was kind of some overlap there, but that's kind of like a greatest hits of Far Cry. Just enjoy it for what it is, I suppose. The main villain is really great. Web Dave says, everyone slap the like button. Colt, Mag, great show. Thank you, Web Dave. One more Highlander, thank you for the 5. He says, I play what I like, and with Game Pass, I am only risking my time and not my money. I do not care if the graphics are mid as long as it's fun. A lot of people say the Redfall graphics are mid, and it doesn't look like Horizon Forbidden West. It doesn't look like God of War, but I think it's kind of an evolution of what Arcane usually does. Go look at Prey. It doesn't. The only thing that really blows you away is when you get outside and look at space when you're floating around. It's like, whoa. But even that is like a simplistic, very stylized looking game. Let's talk about the next big time. What's that?
Have you seen Call of Duty? Look at Call of Duty. Call of Duty looks great. Your gun looks great. The hands look great. Some of the scenes look great. Go look at a car on a multiplayer map. It literally looks like a cardboard cutout that my son did, like as a class project. You know what I mean? It's all there.
Well,
it's the same,
and those games are very curated. Like you've got an area where they just need to build where it make it look amazing. You can't go out and around. Like Redfall, you're on foot. You can go just about anywhere. Colin Moriarty, who runs Sacred Symbols from Last Stand Media, interviewed Hoag's Law. Hoag's Law is so incredible. And since this Activision Blizzard stuff has come up, he's been diving into it because he's a mergers and acquisitions lawyer. He had a stroke a few months ago, and he's like back on track and doing content and doing interviews. He's incredible. I don't know if you saw this short clip from the yet to be fully released interview, Mag, but Colin Murray asked Hoag about Xbox. They'll continue to, as he says, quote, gobble up more publishers because Take-Two is on the table. EA and Ubisoft are possibly on the table. Even Capcom is on the table for being acquired. And Hoag's Law explained that these developers, it takes two to tango, as Hoag said in the video interview. These studios and publishers are acquired because they wanted to be acquired. They want to join forces. They want to be bought out. They want to make the financial move. And much to Colin Moriarty's disappointment, Hoag said there is nothing stopping Microsoft. They are going to continue to buy more games, but also possibly look at if those games need to remain multi-plat as they come in. Mag, what do you think about Xbox buying another big... We'll talk about the Monopoly thing as well. What do you think of this? I don't know if you listened to it. You may be getting it for the first time right here.
No, I know exactly what the. Listen, it kind of falls in line with everything that I've already said. Purchasing something, acquiring something doesn't mean that they're excluding something from somebody else. You know what I mean? What they're trying to do, and I think I've talked about it on this show. I've talked about it on Boom Show, on Primetime Gaming when we did that. And, I've mentioned it more than a couple times that I could see certain instances, let's say certain publishers that they purchase or developing studios, whatever, as long as the money's coming in and they're taking that 70% publisher's fee, they don't need to make it exclusive. They don't have to make it. They don't have to make they don't have to buy Capcom and make Resident Evil exclusive. That's like, why? What's the point? The thing is, if let's just say, for argument's sake, anybody here in this chat and anybody who's listening to this show afterwards, if you're an Xbox gamer primarily, why does it matter if it's going to PlayStation or Nintendo or PC? It shouldn't. It really shouldn't, because you're playing it.
That's a tough wire to walk, Meg.
But you're playing it on Game Pass. You're playing it on Game Pass. I can understand if you're trying to attract more people over, and that's fine. And you could do it with certain games, which they are right now, like Starfield and stuff like that. And of course, Redfall. They're staying exclusive so that they could build their subscription service more so, right? But I can't see them doing it with. What I'm getting at is that they're not going to do it with every single big title that they acquire over the years. It's not going to happen with all of them. I think it'll happen with some of them. That they think, if they say, okay, we see potential to create a new franchise with this specific title, then they'll keep it exclusive, because then they could build it as a franchise over there. But I think something like, let's say, for example, Resident Evil. Okay, let's say they purchase Capcom and Resident Evil. I can never see Resident Evil being exclusive, because it makes so much money on those other platforms, PC, on PlayStation, and maybe they can even put it on Nintendo through the cloud. All right, or in the new console, whatever else. You keep it there, you take your 70%, and what are they doing? They're literally generating money. They are going to become a completely self-sufficient money-making machine that they do not require the parent company, Microsoft, to feed money into. The idea is that it becomes its own beast entirely, and not just a division of Microsoft. It's going to become so big and so powerful that it will literally fund itself, a la what Jim Ryan was talking about. What was he talking about? What funds the first-party games? The 30% that they're taking, and of course the small slice that they take from microtransactions from Call of Duty. It helped fund their first party. So you want to get your God of Wars and your Horizon Forbidden Wests? You get it through the sales of Call of Duty. That's what Xbox is going to do. And they're going to create new IPs and new franchises out of that money.
Yeah, I mean, this is the cycle that is also part of what we're going to talk about today, how Jim Ryan is so upset about the prospect of losing the gravy train that comes through Call of Duty. Let me explain the difference between publishers and studios. Obviously, we know the difference, but I'm with Mag. If they're going to buy up a publisher, that it probably makes more sense just to keep those as a major addition to Game Pass in the platform, as a better option to play, and then just sell them with the status quo on PlayStation. But if you buy a studio and bring them in, Xbox would treat them as an exclusive platform studio to create IPs.
That's right.
Because there will be studios. Yeah, there will be studios that don't have big established IPs, but are just really great. Like Crystal Dynamics is a perfect purchase. You don't have to worry about if they're going to bring with them multi-platform IPs. They're just a great studio. So Xbox will buy those, but what they really need to do, they're so far behind the PlayStation as far as, well, this is kind of a funny controversy. Shout out to 1,100 people who are here. Please hit the like button, get us up to 500, just to show Mag how he's more handsome than I am. I forgot what I was going to say, but with all these games coming to Game Pass, you have to pick how you're going to make your money. And I completely forgot what I was going to say.
Listen,
that's so great.
Sony did not buy Naughty Dog with the knowledge of Uncharted becoming one of the biggest franchises in history, or Last of Us, or whatever. They bought a developer that was working out of their garage at one point, and then they turned into something. And then, you know what I mean? But this is a little. What I'm getting at is that they could purchase something like a Capcom, and one of their subdivisions of Capcom that's not making Resident Evil. You have Resident Evil as that big flagship that everybody gets, and you get the money from that. You're still taking in 70%. What else do you want? But then you have another team that says, "Hey guys, we have this great idea. Go make it." Phil's like, go make it. Whatever the hell it is, go make it. You know what? You have to throw everything in the wall and see what sticks. Because the go make it might be in 5 years, 10 years, might be the biggest franchise in video game history. You don't know. And you don't know unless you try. What does Wayne Gretzky say about hockey? You can't score unless you take the shot.
Oh, nice.
You know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
If you take 0 shots, you have 0 goals. You've got to take the shots, and that's what I'm saying. So what you do is you have those big names. Like, let's say they pick up a Capcom. Like I said, I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying that that's in the news cycle, but you keep that Resident Evil exactly where it is right now. You don't touch that. That's your moneymaker. That's going to continue to fund
they may
the
have
smaller
to take,
projects that.
If they get something like Capcom, they may have to pick and choose what's exclusive or not. Like you said, I agree with you. A Resident Evil would stay multi-plat, but if they decide to revive Dead Rising, maybe they would make that exclusive, and that's where it gets really weird. And then what I was trying to remember, I was trying to click over to my notes when I said that PlayStation has such a large lead over Xbox as far as how many people they have playing. It's actually not quite true, because this week it was reported that Xbox leads the market in monthly active users some 6 to 8% over PlayStation for the most part, until God of War Ragnarok came out and it boosted engagement and monthly active users on the PlayStation platform. But normally, due to EA and Activision, which they don't even own yet, Xbox has more monthly users on their platform through PC and console than PlayStation does. Now, this is a big paradigm shift that people have to understand. When I talk about you don't want to associate the name Xbox with gaming, if you're an anti-Xbox person, you have to really be educated, because Xbox is about to put themselves into the position where they have the a la carte, the place to play whatever you want for a small fee on Game Pass. And so if they buy something like Ubisoft, or they buy something like Take-Two, or they buy something like EA, which would be huge. It would be a huge thing that we don't even think would really happen at this point. But they are definitely shopping for that, because they need to give you all these games. And the way Xbox looks at it, they're like, oh, we're going to buy, let's just pretend it's EA, right? That's a big deal. Oh, we're buying EA because we don't have to pay them all of this money and strike all these deals and do all the paperwork and do all of the agreements and skirt around what PlayStation is money having. If we buy Activision, or if we buy EA, all this content is going to remain where it is, but it gets to sit in Game Pass, where it'll be much more desirable right here in Game Pass and not on the PlayStation. That's where Jim Ryan is really upset. Jim Ryan says the PlayStation business would never recover. Quote, it would never recover if Microsoft were to release a degraded version of Call of Duty on PlayStation if its acquisition of Activision Blizzard were to be approved. That's what Jim Ryan and the PlayStation leadership told the CMA as they go into an appeal. They've lost like 3 times, Mag, and they're still appealing, because what is so important to PlayStation right now is to ruin any bit of good traction that Xbox can get out of this deal. Basically, at this point, they're at a yard sale, and they're trying to just derail as much of that deal as possible so that Xbox has the worst possible outcome. And it's not even their money that they're spending. He says, Jim Ryan said a degraded version of Call of Duty on PlayStation would, quote, seriously damage our reputation. Our gamers would desert our platform in droves, and network effects would exacerbate the problem. Our business would never recover. This coming from where Foss Patton says PlayStation is being childish, stupid, and unprofessional, calling the rival consoles, Nintendo Switch and Xbox consoles, a inferior hardware platform in their patent applications. So let's talk about Digital Foundry comparisons. Mag, what do you remember about Call of Duty Digital Foundry comparisons in the past couple of years?
Well,
What have you heard? What do you know? What do you remember?
Well, it is the inferior console after all. So, I know that was, Well, that's arrogance at the end of the day.
Sure.
As for the specific specs as to what Digital Foundry was at, I can't remember off the top of my bloody head. But I'm gonna have to get a refresher on that. But either way,
just
you speak on it.
You can just kind of paint the picture of what you remember the comparisons of Call of Duty being, like which one normally wins. Do you remember versus Xbox Series X versus PS5? What has normally won the past couple of years? Do you remember, Mag?
Well, wasn't the frame rates and stuff better on the Xbox? Because I mean, it does have more overhead than the PlayStation 5.
The frame
anyway,
rates
right?
have been better on the PlayStation, but typically the resolution is higher on Xbox.
Oh, I got it mixed up then.
Yeah, I mean that's why I ask, right? I mean, Mag doesn't know everything.
No, well, you know.
Well, I mean
I just don't remember. I have short-term memory loss. But
well, I mean, Mag, I don't expect you to follow all the Digital Foundry stuff. I do because I'm super nerdy. But yeah, I mean, it's in the past the One X versus a Pro. The Xbox was killing it. Sometimes the frame rate was a little better. Sometimes the frame rate was better on the PS4 Pro, but then it was also running at half the resolution or 25% less sometimes. But right now, the resolution has been the same sometimes or higher. You know, somebody's going to quote me and call me out on Twitter, but this is all based on my memory of the past couple of Call of Duties.
I don't remember exactly. So I'm like, what am I going to say here? I'm like, I don't remember exactly what happened. And then someone's going to say the same thing about me, like, Mag, you fraud. And I'm like, just chill out, guys. I just don't remember exactly what those guys said. I remember arguing about a lot of stuff with Digital Foundry, but then it came to a point. It came to a point where I just walked away from them because I'm like, listen, I don't really care that much. I want a good quality experience wherever I decide to be playing the game. Whatever game it is, right. I want to be able, you know what I mean? I don't want to have so much disparity between the two. Like, for example, that debacle that happened with, fantastic game, by the way, but now that it's all fixed up, Callisto Protocol, right?
Oh, yeah.
And there was that whole debacle with Callisto Protocol.
Ray
and what ended up happening,
Right,
and then what ended up happening, you found out that 100 developers from Sony went over to work on it. Right, and then magically it was better. It was better on the PlayStation 5. Well, that's not a surprise, nor was that an accident. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing there. So when they see something like that, I've said it before a million times, Colt, is that when you're a career criminal, the one thing that you're afraid of is someone committing the same crime that you've been doing against you. And that's something that's what they're afraid of.
If you and I were out robbing people's houses and we're like, man, I wonder if somebody's breaking in our house while we're out here right now.
Why? And why do you think criminals always return to the scene of the crime? For exactly that reason. They're afraid. Exactly. And what are they? They're afraid. Like I said, when you're a career criminal, you're afraid of someone doing exactly what you've been doing to you. And that's what it is. And that's what's happening right now. That is what's happening right now. For all the nefarious things that they've done over the decades, not over the last year, not over the last 2 decades, folks, they have literally bankrupted entire consoles. During their tenure, and if they had their way, they would have bankrupted Nintendo if they had the chance, because they tried to mess them over with the whole PlayStation 1, whatever, right? So now all of a sudden, someone starts getting a little bit of the upper hand. Now they're afraid that the same thing's going to happen to them, and then that's when Microsoft could turn around and say, you know, we're not as scumbaggy as you guys, so we actually had no intention of doing those things. But okay, that's cool if that's what you think we're going to do.
Yeah, thanks for letting us know that's what you like to do, because and it's true. They think that honestly, they think they have the more powerful console, and a lot of analysis from Digital Foundry have made it look like the PS5 is more powerful than the Series X. Now, hardware and software people know better. But the PS5 is not more powerful, but it is definitely outperforming. In the past couple months, it's been outperforming the Series X. But John Linneman's Digital Foundry says that overall, the Series X has outpaced the PS5 on most of their analyses that they do. But if you follow this channel or this podcast long enough, you know that the PS5 porting process is so much better than Xbox. And Xbox has the DX12 problem that also carries over to PC. And please remember, I've talked about it here, that even Digital Foundry, like Alex Battaglia said, he scratched his head. I don't know why the PC ports are not doing well. We don't know why the Series X is being outperformed. Something doesn't add up, and it needs to be fixed. But PlayStation has been enjoying the fruits of the labors of making it look like Xbox doesn't exist. They've been enjoying the fruits of their version of games being better because, let's be honest, Meg, people don't really go buy the PlayStation 5 version because of a digital Foundry analysis, do they? I mean, really? No. I mean, how many people? 3%? No, anybody?
Not even. Right? I would say almost nobody. It's all about the marketing, the pizzazz, and listen, Sony is a Hollywood company at the end of the day. Now, they're not a Hollywood company, but I mean, they own Hollywood studios. They know how to sell the sizzle. They sell the sizzle, right? And that's what they do. And you know what? Like you can't deny that's how they get these people over there. And then also, what do? They back the horses of the biggest pop culture names in the business. We talked about that before too. Marvel, Harry Potter, all these other. You can't deny those. Everybody knows who those people are. I remember walking through the mall. This is when malls were a thing, before the pandemic or whatever, right? And I'm walking through. This is when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. There was a huge blue sign in front of the GameStop over there, right? Of course, in those days it was called EB Games, and it said Red Dead Redemption 2, and in letters the size of me, it said exclusive.
Exclusive bedazzled saddle and assless chaps.
Right, thank you. But you had to go up with a microscope, with a magnifying glass like Sherlock Holmes, and then it said exclusive hat and slacks.
Right.
But the big sign says exclusive. So every Tom, Dick, and Harry who's walking by they see Red Dead Redemption 2. That's the saying my dad used to say whenever I used to do something stupid.
I know, we're old.
He goes, yeah. He goes, I've been like, oh, I see you've been drinking, eh? Just like, what do you think? You're going to be like Tom, Dick, and Harry? Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, so now I say
Dad? Yeah. I mean, I've had family members go, Harry Potter, you're playing that on Xbox? I'm like, yeah. How? I thought it was PlayStation exclusive. I'm like, dang it, Jim Ryan. They do sell the sizzle. They really do sell the sizzle, Mag. And I want Xbox to sell the sizzle as well, but...
They also cherry pick the best names in the business of big buzzword names, right? Like everybody know Harry Potter's a buzzword name. Everybody knows Harry Potter. Everybody knows Spider-Man. Everybody knows Wolverine.
Hey,
Even if you don't watch the movies, you know who they are.
I 100% blame Xbox for that. They didn't go after the Spider-Man IP in 2016 or whatever, 2015, whenever that was proposed. They don't go after the big ones. The last big game they went after was Tomb Raider, maybe. I mean, we get Scorn and Gunk and Crossfire X.
Yeah,
like they go and partner out these games that they think, it really bothers me that Xbox has all this money now and all this. Well, I mean, I guess before my complaints or before they did have a blank check from Satya Nadella, but before it was like, let's get something really cheap and hope that it takes off for us. And I think that Xbox is gone. That doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look at you got now. You got an Indiana Jones coming out. I know that might not be a big name for some of the new generation because let's face it, there hasn't been a new Indiana Jones movie in 14 years. Some of these people were 5 when the movie when the Crystal Skull came out.
Wow, we're old. Well, Tomb Raider was a big name, but in 2013 or 2012 or whatever when they announced the reboot, like where people were like, "Oh yeah, I remember playing that on my PS1," but it resurged up like. It was a big deal. And to me, Tomb Raider meant nothing because I watched my brother-in-law play on the PlayStation 1. I was like,
Tomb
because
Raider
you had to turn the
camera
camera and you jumped up and everything was isometric or not isometric. Everything was orthographic. Like you could only jump when you were facing exactly. And I was like, no, this isn't doing it for me. Sergio Diaz with the $5 super says, I don't think that's the case. There's been no mention of the rest of Activision Blizzard IP exclusivity, and I think that speaks for itself. Let's talk about that for a moment because Jez Corden said that the new exclusive Blizzard survival game, I can't remember what the code name is, but he says he's pretty sure that the actual game name of the new Blizzard IP, which is a survival game, is called Odyssey. And it is probably a medieval style open world survival game that Jez Corden believes will be multiplat when a couple of years ago when we first had this game leak, we don't know when it is. They just started hiring last year for it to start in production. But he said it was going to be one of the few exclusives from Activision Blizzard. Mag, we talked about Call of Duty not being exclusive. What other IPs are actually kind of still breathing and still moving from Activision Blizzard that, let's talk about exclusivity or multiplat. What can you think of off the top of your head?
Okay. Well, this game that you're talking about, they're saying it wasn't. He was saying originally it was going to be exclusive, but now he's saying it might not be.
Yeah, when it first got announced, Jez was like, this will probably be, I don't want to misquote him, but I'm pretty sure that Jez said, I think this would be one of the few exclusives from Activision Blizzard. And I remember back then I thought he's probably right. But let's talk about what.
You know what? If it's a multiplayer, if it's an online multiplayer survival game, open world, all I can think of is Conan Exiles. You know, like that kind of thing. I mean, hey, there is a crowd for it. I'm just saying maybe this game will be a lot better. I'm just saying the style of game. There's no point in making that exclusive. Let everybody have that, because then it could be a free to play, and then with you know what I mean? With like, you purchase microtransactions, this and that, or you purchase DLC, and you know what I mean? And just you let the actual, like, the startup of the game be as a free download, and then let everybody have it, like like Destiny is now. Maybe you do something like that. I could see that. Obviously, I could see Call of Duty will remain multi-plat, and I could see Diablo remaining a multi-plat because of the online component, whatever else. Other than that, I don't like. They're not gonna make if they decide to make like a new Tony Hawk or a new Crash Bandicoot, those will stay exclusive to Xbox. That makes sense. You keep it over there. Like, I'm just saying, like, those big multiplayer games that you're going to get a ton of cash from. Why lock it away?
Why wouldn't you, right? And I know it's not something it's not something that we sometimes we don't want to hear it, right? Because Xbox has had such an exclusive deficit. Because for 8 years they had no funding, they were left to die, right? Now that they have funding, they can bring exclusives in. But I mean, Bethesda and ZeniMax have such a big output of games. They normally put something out every 3 years from one of their studios, so they'll provide a lot of exclusives. Ghostwire and Deathloop would have been one of them if they weren't money-handed from all-powerful PlayStation.
Well, yeah, and like I could see, like I said, those massive multiplayer games, online games, I could see those remaining multi-plat just because of the money alone. That's like, for example, let's just say for argument's sake, whoever ends up buying Take-Two or whatever. Okay, never mind. Okay, let's say you get the IP itself, Grand Theft Auto. That's like making Grand Theft Auto Online exclusive to one system. Are you insane? Do you understand how business works? You'd be cutting out literally billions of dollars in profit from the other platforms. It doesn't make sense, guys. These guys don't console war, okay? These are business people. Men, women, businessmen. I mean, they sit down with each other, they talk.
Before it would have made some sense, but because of PC and Xbox pushing crossplay, you're right. It makes way more business sense to release those big online monetized games.
Yes.
Playable on all the platforms, because if a Grand Theft Auto Online 2, whatever it would be called, that would be such a big deal because Xbox guys can play against or with PC people. And I don't know if you can play against or with PlayStation people on Grand Theft Auto Online, but
I'm not 100% sure.
Actually, I don't even know what the crossplay is with something like that, but I would bet the GTA 6 would have full crossplay across the board.
And then what happens, Colt? Then you take the profits of those games and you make more exclusives for your system.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you have a couple of games that remain multi-platform. They fund everything, just like Jim Ryan was saying, and then they fund more exclusives for Xbox. You're literally taking their game plan and turning it on their head, and that's what it is.
That's what they're saying. I mean, that's exactly what he said, that they fund their first party with all of the profits they make off of Call of Duty, a game they don't own, a game they don't make, and a game that's just a gravy train. It's just a surgical tube of liquid goo going into their bank account. It's great. I love it.
Imagine they were only collecting 30. They were only collecting 30%. Because they didn't own the IP and they certainly didn't own the publisher, right? But now that Microsoft is going to own the publisher, they're taking 70%.
So it doubles. So if they make $500,000 a year just on Call of Duty alone, now they make $1 billion or whatever.
Thank you. And then on top of that, you take a slice of the microtransactions, guys. This is simple 101 right here. This is how you do it. But you only do it strategically for specific games that you know are going to have a massive player base on all systems. Right? And then you fund the first-party games that you want. You want Avowed 2? Call of Duty's going to pay for that. You want Fable 2 in 2075, whenever it comes out?
We're going to talk about Fable in a minute. Oh, I hate you.
Then guess what? Then Diablo 5 can pay for that.
Yeah,
in 10 years.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. This is how it works. And that's how you're going to... And we benefit as consumers because we are paying for Game Pass. That's the sale. The sale is Game Pass.
As soon as Activision closes, like the the healthy wallet of Xbox is going to be really enjoyable. That money's going to spread throughout marketing. Maybe they'll boost up everything. It's a whole new paradigm for Xbox fans. Matthew Barrios really wants me to read the Redfall Metacritic prediction. Who would love to do this math? I would love to see this. 61% say the game will be anywhere between an 80 and a 90, and 20% say it'll land somewhere between a 70 and an 80. So I wonder what that math ends up being. 88 plus an 87.
I could see an 83. I could see like a low 80s, like 83. I don't think it'll be below 80.
I'll run the rough math. What did I say? 80, 78 plus an 86 divided by 2. Oops. Oh my gosh. I hit the wrong button. 78 plus 86. That's the divide button. An 82. Lo and behold, an 82 is what your votes basically say, which is right where I think it's going to be. Meg, what's your final number? I said 82 earlier. What did you say it's going to be?
You know what? It's going to be either an 82 or an 83. So okay, we're almost bang on, because there's going to be some 90s. There are going to be some 88s, and then there's going to be a couple 60s. Of people, and there's going to be a couple of 60s that's going to drag it down. So let's be serious, right? So it's going to be somewhere around, I say 82, 83. You're right. I can't argue with that. I would say we're almost bang on.
Yeah.
Between the two of us,
if you're having a good time, if you're having a good time, we've had almost we had 1,200 at one point, but we got about 1,100 people. If you're having a good time, if you can minimize the chat for a second, hit the like button, and come back, we'll still be here. We'll wait right here for you to do. But thank you so much for doing that. No, we appreciate it. We really appreciate that. We got a couple supers here that kind of move us into all-knowing knowledge from the chat. Nintendo the Otaku says 99% of anything Xbox acquires should be exclusive unless it's Call of Duty Minecraft level and needs more numbers. So he's kind of in line with you, Mag. There's zero reason to make it multi-platform. So I think he's agreeing with you on the
like not everything. It's just like a handful of stuff that that's a cash cow. You keep it where it is. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a cash cow, you keep it where it is. It makes no sense to lock it away and then upsetting the families. And let's not forget PR. It's also an image thing too, eh? That's another thing that I think a lot of people don't understand. Sorry, Colt, I'm going on a rant here very quick though. 30 seconds. Listen, the Jim Ryan thing when he's complaining and bitching and moaning about parody and this and that. Can you imagine if Microsoft finally acquires these guys after all this time or whatever, and they turn around and they give a superior version on the Xbox and a very visibly less superior version on the PlayStation? Can you imagine the public image and the outrage that would cause that? They don't want to make waves like that. They're not going to do that. It is never going to happen. There will be advantages on the Xbox, surely. And I think a lot of that's going to come with the fact that, you're not paying $100 right off the rip. The other thing is that you're also going to be getting all kinds of perks. You get like these battle passes and everything else. Maybe they'll throw them for 50% off as long as you're a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, or you get them for free, whatever it is, right? And then you do things like that. But as for anything else, think it's going to be right down the middle of the road, man. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
No, you know what I like doing, Mag, you make a really great point, of course, is if I get a game really cheap or a game's free or I get it through Game Pass, I am really motivated if I'm really enjoying the game to support the extra content or the add-ons or even cosmetics, where before I never really messed with microtransactions. Because I was playing Vampire Survivors. I paid $8 to get the expanded content because the game was basically free, and I'm loving it so much that I wanted to. I don't know. I'm like, I want to play more of it, and I'm going to throw some extra money toward the game and show my support.
It's like a free-to-play game on your phone. Like a free-to-play game on your phone. You get the game, you really, really enjoy it. Like I have this Tri-Towers solitaire game that I like. I put in like 244 hours into that game. Because it's it's the kind of thing that you do when you're in the bathroom or you're on a train or you're in you know what I mean, or you're on an airplane, whatever, right? So you get all these different things going on. And you know what? If something ever came up with it, like, we have this new bonus mode and this and that, I'd probably pay the $3-4 to get it because I haven't paid anything up to the point. And so the thing is, I could see with Game Pass, I would be more willing to purchase something else of a game that I didn't have to pay $80 to $100 price wall up front, and then have to pay another $30 on top of that to get something else. Like, for example, in Canada, okay, even though I love the game, it was my game of the year, 2022. Call me a pony. Go ahead. My Horizon Forbidden West. It was my game of the year for 2022. I absolutely adored that game. But guess what? The game cost me $105. The DLC just cost me another $30. The game cost me $135, almost $140. Okay, that's a lot of coin, folks. And imagine taking that $100 away. If I didn't have to pay that $100
sometimes when you
off
spend too much for a game, sometimes you can feel like you spent too much. It can really hamper my enjoyment of a title. And I wanted to ask you in the chat, please write in the chat, have you played Mighty Doom on your phone yet? I've played it like...
Oh, I heard about it.
I played it like 15 times. It is so crunchy. You hold the button, you basically auto shoot, and you have to strafe with your thumb at the bottom of the screen in portrait mode. I thought about actually recording it and putting up gameplay on the show one of these days, but
do it for next week.
It's like double shot. It's like this voiceover stuff and the way you just chew the enemies up with their health bars. Let me know if you guys have played Mighty Doom. There's a free game and it has like little wheel spins. It's such a corny phone game. A lot of people say no. Udani says yes. Jigga J says yes. It's free. I just download it and play it once, and we'll talk about it next week. Where was I? We got Mike 28. Thank you for the $5. Says Resident Evil 4 remake was just downgraded on Series X with a resolution drop. Boy, it already doesn't look that nice on Xbox, in my opinion. He said, you think the frame rate would be better, but it's not. Degrading, please. I'm going to say something that people aren't going to like, but I feel like when I'm playing Resident Evil 4, the visuals look identical to Resident Evil 3 on Xbox One X. It's got that, it's hard to explain, and I have a really nice TV, but around the edges of Leon, there's like this triple ghosting, and it must be from like the temporal reprojection, where in between frames they boost the resolution and then it degrades down to keep the frame rate, which is something Series X does not need to do. But I look at the game, I'm like, it doesn't look sharp. When I played Resident Evil 3 on Xbox One X, which is half the power of the Series X, it didn't hold 60 all the time, but it basically ran at that frame rate. And I'm like, why am I getting the same visual experience? Everyone's like, oh, Resident Evil 4 looks amazing. I'm like, to me, they both look great. I don't know. Maybe
they all look
wrong.
Fantastic. I'm so happy. By the way, I don't know. I'm even gonna ask. I want to see what everybody wants as the next remaster.
Cinematic ghosting. What were we gonna ask?
Like, are we gonna get like, you know what? I don't even have the option of being able to do a poll. But I was gonna say, what's the next Resident Evil Hey, what's the next Resident Evil remake that we want to see? Is it going to be our Resident Evil 5, or we want to see Code Veronica? Let's see what happens out there. Anyway, they all looked fantastic. From 2, 3, and now 4. They've been nothing short of magnificent.
Next RE game, you said RE5 or
Code Veronica.
Code Veronica.
Which you guys think is going to be next?
Okay, here comes
So
the
that'd
poll.
be interesting.
A la Mag. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people want 5 is what I'm thinking. Oops, I don't want to tip the scale.
Let's see what happens.
I've heard a lot of people talk about one of them, but I just feel like Resident Evil 4 doesn't blow my face off with the visuals, because Resident Evil 3 looks incredible, 2 looks incredible. All those games look really great. I just feel like the Xbox version could look a lot better than it does. I don't know why.
Like I said, I'm playing it on PlayStation because my game share partner, who was supposed to buy me, actually, it's kind of funny.
Do we know
story.
your game share partner, or is this somebody who's...
No. This is somebody from work. So it's not nobody in the community. Anyways, he bought Resident Evil 4. He was supposed to buy me Hogwarts Legacy, right? Because I was going to get the platinum and the 1,000 out of 1,000 on both the Xbox and PlayStation. I'm not paying another $100 to do the game, so I said, forget it. So anyways, he says, that's okay. So he surprised me and he bought Jedi Survivor instead. So I was like, yeah. So I'm like, that just saved me. So now I'm going to be doing that. And then, of course, Dead Island. Guys, people in the chat, Dead Island 2, I need partners. So I'm going to be playing Dead Island 2 on Xbox.
Yeah, dude. You and I have not sat down to play anything yet. So
no, and you know what we should
do?
We should record footage. We should stream. Well, no, you don't want to stream with me because I say some horrible things. Let's go with let's record gameplay so we can put on the show of the two of us playing co-op. I think that'd be hilarious.
The funny thing
while
about
we're talking,
Dead Island and Dying Light footage, half the time it gets demonetized because YouTube's automated system does not like that up close maiming of humanoids. It's weird because
which makes no sense, but yeah,
I have close to a million views reporting on Dead Island 2 leaks and rumors over the past 3 or 4 years, and half of those videos have been demonetized and then manually reviewed by YouTube, and they say it's got too much violence, it's not suitable for ads. And I'm like, oh, good heavens. Like, but you can blow people's heads off from far away, but that up close, like smacking the face off a zombie, he don't like that.
Dude, did you see that? There's one, and by the way, I see you guys in the chat. Listen, hit me up. You see me online, you hit me up, and then we'll play Dead Island 2. But I am going to be playing it with Colt as well, so it's going to be really funny. We got to record that footage, Colt, and we got to put it on the show while we're live on the air. I think that'll be hilarious. Anyways, there's one animation that I saw that literally, like, I've seen Mexican beheading videos, for crying out loud. Okay, so like this, like real life one. That stuff doesn't bother me, okay? I've seen, like, like the cartel stuff. I've seen that stuff on, like, bestgore.com and all that. Anyway, listen, which it no longer exists. But I saw an animation on Dead Island 2 that freaked me out. And it was just a guy casually went into somebody's face and pulled their brain out. I was like, oh, God. Like, I literally screamed when I saw that. Oh, it was awful. It was awful. And the way that the character did it in the game was so casual. Like, it's almost like they were picking ice cream at Baskin Robbins. Like, I'll have the rum raisin. And they just went like this, like, I'll just take your brain. And I was like, oh, through the face? I'm like, I can't believe that was real life. Anyways, yeah.
What was the game? What was the game where it slices the head and the face slides off? It was recently.
I saw that once in Spartacus. That was incredible. If anybody's seen the show Spartacus, that did happen on the show. But
there was a game. Help us out, chat. There was a game
Mortal Kombat.
Oh yeah, it's Mortal Kombat. That's right.
Baraka.
It's just like what's the poll looking at? 60% for Code Veronica. Sergio Diaz says about that Odyssey game, he says a Spanish YouTuber leaked guy said that he has heard the opposite of what Jez Corden said. So I think Sergio is saying that this Spanish YouTuber is saying that Odyssey from Blizzard would be exclusive and not multi-platform. If I'm reading that correctly.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm reading that right. He heard the opposite. Because I don't know if he means the opposite of what Jez Corden said recently or in the beginning. I think he means recently. So according to a Spanish YouTube leaker guy, quote unquote, that Odyssey would be exclusive to Xbox. And I mean, you were saying if it's service-based, they should make it multi-platform, but it's a new IP. It's from studios that they bought and publishers. It's way out far enough where it's never been announced to anything that they have every right to make Odyssey from Blizzard an exclusive. Malcolm.
Hey, you know what?
Yes.
5 years from now, let's say the game comes out 5 years from now and Game Pass has 120 million subs, then you keep it exclusive because you have the player base. You know what I'm saying? You have the player base.
I mean, once they get to 50 million, I think that's like the turning point. 50 million subscribers on Game Pass, which is probably going to happen as we get into the end of the holiday of this year. I think we're going to get closer to that with big things. Redfall, Minecraft Legends, Forza Motorsport, Hellblade 2 coming, and Starfield. It's going to be a big deal because Xbox had no growth with no games in 2022. This is Colteastwood and Mag on the X&C podcast. Hit the like button if you're having a good time. I've got some supers that are kind of getting us moving along here. Malcolm says, gosh dang it, he says. He didn't say gosh dang it, but he means it when he says just waiting for another Fall of Cybertron Transformers game. Meg, have you played Fall of Cybertron or War for Cybertron?
I have not. I have not played a Transformers game in years. It's just one of those ones that slipped. Okay, well, if they're good, then I'll go check them out.
So you can't, like, I was able to get Fall of Cybertron on Steam via a key on G2A because the licensing is expired. Those are no longer. I got a digital key somewhere. It was like $9 like 2 years ago. Great third-person shooting, strafe vehicle combat, kind of like the Batmobile in Arkham Knight, but way better. It's a real callback to like a futuristic version of the G1 trans. Oh, it's so good. Malcolm is so right. They're so good. And they're made by High Moon Studios, now a lackey for Call of Duty. Gosh dang. Fighting Dog, thank you for the super with the $2 says Xbox bring back Kung Fu Chaos. Great game.
Yes.
Meg,
good.
What is it?
Good game. Yes. Kung Fu Chaos. That's how do you describe it, guys? Go YouTube it and check it out. It was a lot of fun back in the day. I think that'd be a game that would do really well. But listen, you want Kung Fu. This is what. Listen, I've been preaching this all night. I'm going to preach it again. You want?
Is it side scrolling? What is it?
Oh, well, it's kind of. I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe. Listen, we're gonna have to pull it up. All right, we're gonna. Oh no, well, I can't do that from this end. I was gonna say
I'll pull it up. You know what it looks like. I don't, so I'll pull it up.
Can you do it? Can you pull it up?
I don't know if I can pull it up on
Xbox.
screen, but I will. Kung Fu, what was it? Chaos?
It's basically like a 2D, 3D sort of like what the heck is that game with that stupid bear and the bird that everybody liked? And I thought it was the stupidest game ever. What the hell was that game called?
Best host, because I cannot stand Banjo-Kazooie. Wow, what a weird game this is.
Yeah, no, Banjo-Kazooie's ridiculous.
Xbox original game.
Yes, it was basically like a Banjo-Kazooie, but it was almost like a 2D, 3D. You could go like different levels, like you can like smash a level, fall to a level before, like below it, that kind of thing. And it was almost like, oh man, it's kind of like a beat.
Now we had a chance to meet this young man, and boy, that's just a straight.
Let's see. Yes, we're back to normal. Sorry, I don't run a show like Asa is like doing all this stuff in the background for Game On Daily for Go Live, but I try to do my best. But Kung Fu Chaos, that's funny. Let me read another one. Highlander says, "Who's really scared, Jim Ryan or the CEO?"
Yeah, well, I think, Jim Ryan. Well, hey, listen, Jim Ryan's doing his job. By the way, there's a lot of people in the chat that's saying that there was no sound or whatever. They can't hear anything.
Yeah, no, I didn't have sound on. I just played the gameplay.
No. They're saying that there's no audio now, but I don't know. Can anybody still hear? Can anybody hear us?
Hold on. Let me make sure I didn't change anything.
No, not at all.
Check. You talk?
Yeah, everything's great.
Yeah.
No, like everything sounds good. But people.
Well, I mean, it's good for you. I just have to make sure it's okay for the show. Let me go back. You're good, Colt. Muted. We're back. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, guys. Meg, when I was showing that footage, they couldn't hear us because I didn't have our mics on that. So that's okay. That's why I don't do stuff on the fly. I didn't even think about how our sources, because there's all this stuff in the background. But
that's fine.
Let me just say, while I was showing that, footage, I was laughing at how hokey that was. And Meg was talking about how it was like claymation, and you didn't really miss anything. Sorry about that.
I was just talking that it was kind of like a sillier version of that Wu-Tang Clan 4-person fighting game. That was basically it. But anyways, back to listen, Jim's got more to be worried about. But at the same time, listen, he's done his job. His job was to delay as much as possible because my conspiracy theory is that it had nothing to do with stopping the deal. They knew that they couldn't stop the deal. I think that the goal from day one was to slow down and delay the deal for as long as possible. And by that, I mean a year and a half to 2 years to give their first-party studios enough time to start launching those games as a service games that they've been working on, because they got like 13 of them in production right now, right? So they were trying to get those games
delay long enough to stop one more Call of Duty gravy train, right?
That's what I mean. So all of a sudden, then you could delay 2 years for the deal to go through, or a year and a half to 2 years, which they're basically almost doing. And then on top of that, they still have to honor the Call of Duty deals that they already have thus far. Which now you add into that turns into 3 years, turns into almost 4 years. That gives your development teams enough time to start launching your games as a service that they'll be able to say, hey, let's see if we can get this off the ground. Maybe a new SOCOM, something like that. Something that could get like the online community going. So maybe the PlayStation can have an answer to Call of Duty, even though Call of Duty's still going to PlayStation. But it might be something in-house that would actually take off. What about a Killzone? I mean, I loved Killzone back in the day. That was great. So, maybe that's what these things that they're working on right now. So their point was to delay. But as such, I think that Jim Ryan, to this point, I mean, people can make fun and joke all you want, which is true because it is funny. It is fun.
Yeah.
But guess what? He's doing exactly what they wanted him to do.
He's doing a good job of derailing
He's fighting tooth and nail. He's making himself look like a fool, but he's doing exactly what they told him to do. That's what they wanted to do. Like, do whatever you got to do.
Imagine how angry you'd be if you went to a car lot to buy a car and somebody was like, that you were going to buy the last yellow car or whatever, and PlayStation wanted it, and all they could do was just make your deal worse. And by the end of the time when you leave the lot, you spent more and you got less. And that's really what they want to do. They're like a jealous ex-boyfriend.
Yeah,
if I can't have Rachel, no one can have Rachel. Matthew Barrios with a $20 super. So amazing that it is emblazoned in orange. He says, I'm a dedicated noob on your Patreon. So he's fairly new. He says, my wife, daughter, and I myself just paired to renew our Game Pass subscription. Why is Microsoft taking so long for the Game Pass family plan to the US? Are you all hoping they do it soon? I kind of need it. I don't know what they're waiting for. They've already announced it in other countries. It's already kind of been leaked out, and I need it because I pay for 3 family share or free Game Pass plans in my house. So
it's a little silly.
Is that something they're pushing for holiday, or are you guessing, Meg?
Listen, I think that they would. It is way overdue. I think that you launch I think you should launch it with Redfall. To be quite honest, launch it with Redfall. I mean, it's a multiplayer game. You got lots of people playing it. Let's get it for Redfall. You've been talking about it forever. The longer you wait, the more it's going to upset people. And people are already like, what's going on, guys? You guys announced this in 2021 or early 2022, whatever it was. It's been over a year, right? So, come on, man. By the way,
Red Wolf goes, later, I'll be whenever got them.
Exactly. It's also, I'm also thinking of The Walking Dead, the first, you can't protect a Rick. The first season with John Bernthal. You can't protect a Rick.
I love my kids get so mad when I do the Batman voice. I love it. Oh my gosh. Good old Red Wolf. We were in a party chat and he was waiting forever to meet Gaz. And as soon as I got him on the party chat, I had Red Wolf doing impressions of Gaz's voice, doing impressions of Risk It, and doing impressions of me. It was fun. We're just making fun of everybody that we love. But yeah, Red Wolf's a great guy. Shout out to him. Hey, Highlander says, holding my breath till we get that dang family plan. Laugh out loud. And Udana Kuzada says, shout out to our hooved brethren in the chat. No bots. No bots, he says. Our hooved brethren are having a difficult time. I'll say again, and capture this if you'd like and share it on social media. This Redfall will not be our Forspoken. I'm sorry to tell you. It's not going to be a 64 Metacritic, and it's not going to get blasted and made fun of and shut down the Arcane Austin studio like Forspoken did. Sometimes you just don't get the banger, I guess. I guess that's where it is. Boner Jams. Shout out to Boner Jams for being on here. He says, hey, Colt, hope your shoulder is healing nicely. It's been 3 weeks. I can't pitch for the Mariners. I don't know. It better get better. I'm not going to whine about it, but he says, Mag, Reptile is the best Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 character. God bless.
Wow, bold.
He says, God bless.
I got a Mortal... Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
He says, God bless scantily clad Sonya Blade.
Hey, man, I got the Mortal Kombat collection cabinet right here. I got all 4 Mortal Kombats on there, the original arcades on there. So yeah, you know what? I gotta go with Sindel, man. I mean, she wasn't in part 1 and 2, but part 3 and Ultimate MK3 and Sindel was my girl. That was the one. And then of course in the first 2, I gotta go with Sub-Zero, Scorpion because they were great. But anyways, carry on.
In '96, I think Mortal Kombat Arcade came out 93, 94. What was it? What year was that?
Well, this cabinet here is the 30th anniversary. Yeah, because the Street Fighter one that I got in the back there, that's the 35th anniversary cabinet. So that's been 35 years. And Mortal Kombat came out, I think, a couple of years after.
Yeah,
right?
the first time I saw Mortal Kombat, because anybody who's followed my channel for a while knows, in around 93 or 94, I kind of just stopped gaming, and I'm like, I'm too cool for it. What a dumb move. But I remember in 96, I was at someone's house and I saw Mortal Kombat on their TV, and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, what's her name? Well, you're not from the U.S. Tipper Jones or whatever. Tipper Gore. The family values thing. I was like that. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. That was so much blood. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
But yeah, shout out to Boner Jams. Assassin, who's been a channel member for 22 months, just 2 months shy of 2 years, says, "Hey Colt Mag, Red Wolf wanted to know about gamer rage moments in your time. Also, what gamer studio you want to see from Xbox in June?" Well, that's a big thing, but let me tell you a quick story about gamer rage. I don't have gamer rage, but I used to play Black Ops 2 with one of my good friends who's the same age as me. So imagine being a fairly aged adult playing Black Ops 2, and he would rage so bad that one time while we were playing in the one of the train levels where there's like a train tracks, and he kept dying and he was getting really mad, and I heard him go, and I was like, "What was that?" He goes, "I just spiked my controller." He goes, "I'm done," and he shut off his 360. He goes, "I'm not playing this anymore." And I was like, and I called him the next day because we talked every day because we played the game every single night. He goes, I was so mad. He goes, "I took my 360 controller and I spiked it on the hardwood floor as hard as I could, and it blew into 100 pieces." He goes, "I'm not playing that game anymore." Well, like 2 days later, he's like, "I want to play again. I bought a new controller." And we were playing, and he kept dying. And he goes, "Son of a cuss." And then I heard, and he leaves. And I text him, I'm like, "Dude, what's up?" Because I would never get mad. He said he grabbed his headset and he said he pulled it apart. And when he pulled it apart, like the wires came all the way around. And he's like, "I'm not going on Xbox Live anymore. I ruined my headset. It was my, $120 Turtle Beach headset. It's completely trashed." And I'm like, dude, holy rage. Mag, do you have any rage stories?
No.
With there was friends or anything?
No, I don't. Like, I swear a lot because I swear a lot at work. I mean, well, not much anymore because now I'm in a corporate setting. So, I still swear enough to like upset people, but not the way I used to, because I used to, keep in mind, I spent like 2.5 decades in restaurants. Okay. Restaurants is the same as the trucking business. Every second word is the F word. So anyways, now I'm in a corporate setting. Obviously that doesn't fly as well. As you can imagine, I'm walking around in a suit. I'm not talking the same way. However, it's still in the hospitality business, so it's still there. It's just not. But anyways, other than the swearing in games or whatever, I don't really like rage or whatever. There was one time, it was one time about 10 years ago where I didn't like spike it like a football, but I kind of casually threw my controller and I went outside because I was so upset. Was that bloody game, American McGee's Alice? Not the first one, the second one, American McGee's Alice Madness Returns. The platforming in that game was so insanely difficult that about halfway through the game, I just was like, it was on the 360, so I'm playing. And then I just said, "You know what?" And I just threw the controller and I went outside and I just sat there and I contemplated my existence on this planet because I was just like, what is this? It's like it was ridiculous. Anybody who's played or finished that game, you'll know. So yeah, Skillet Will, I know my dad's Australian, so yeah, trust me, I know about the language down there. But anyways, yeah.
Back in 1990, I was playing a Nintendo NES before the Super NES was out, and we were playing Super Mario Brothers, and people have been playing that game for years by then, and my friend was playing, and he was trying to get through the middle part of the game, and he kept dying. And of course your controller was connected by like a 5-foot, 6-foot control or a cord, and he was so mad he threw his controller toward the TV, and it hit the NES sitting on the floor. And I remember like seeing it so perfectly how the controller went and it hit the NES, popped open the door, and the cartridge set up, and then you get the gray, black. He was like, yeah. And I was sitting there going, serves you right, because I never threw a fit. Like the worst, my friends make fun of me. The worst I know when I die, I go, I'll snap my fingers to myself.
I'll say something. I'll just be like, I'll raise my voice. I'll be like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't rage, and I definitely wouldn't break
I don't rage.
Something that I spent a lot of money on. But
are you crazy? The stuff in this room, like the stuff in this room, could pay for another house. I ain't throwing that stuff around. You kidding me?
Right before I kind of took my break from gaming, I would go over to my friend's house, and we both had Super NES, we would play Street Fighter, and I never learned the game, but he was really good at it. Sometimes I would just piston hunt it, and I would win one of the rounds, and he would sit right next to me, cussing and yelling and rebuking himself, and I would go, holy crap. And so the next round, I would just lay back and let him beat the crap out of me, because I'm not having fun. If you play co-op with me, I will let you take the best gear. I will show you the game so you can enjoy it, because I'm a decent human being. Gosh dang it. Let's move forward. Let's talk about Joseph Staten.
Yes.
Apparently, some insiders have a good idea where Joseph Staten is going. He finally left the sinking ship. That is 343 Studios. I'm just kidding. No, but he left to greener pastures. I don't know if you've heard anything, but we're hearing that where Joseph Staten is heading will be very console war-y, if that's a word. So
he's going to Sony. And
where at Sony do you think he's going, Mag?
Well, I think that he's going to be working back with Bungie on Destiny, something with Destiny, and I could see him headlining one of those games as a service games that they're working on. Like they got 13 games, and they got 13 games. I think it's 13 games. I keep pulling it. That number keeps showing up in my head, so it must be it. Games as a service games they're working on right now. Then, well, why wouldn't one of them be from Bungie and they be exclusive? Because Bungie's. I know that they said that what Bungie's working on is going to remain multiplat. Maybe not. Maybe a division of that will be something, or maybe it is something. Who the hell knows? I'm just talking in circles here. But I could see him going to Bungie to work with them, and you know what? He's already got a rapport with them. He probably knows half of them anyway, right? Because I mean, with the history that he has, right? So why wouldn't you?
And he loves those guys.
And he loves. That's what I'm saying. He loves those guys, and why wouldn't you go there? I would go there. If you're done what you're doing over at Xbox, then go over there. And the thing is, a lot of people think that he was leaving for vindictive reasons. I don't think so. I think his contract was just up because he was hired temporarily to take over, if I'm not mistaken, the day-to-day operations of Halo Infinite to help get it off the ground, to get it into working shape, because they were having a lot of trouble getting the game off the ground to be able to launch in a timely manner. So they utilized him for that. So and still had trouble. Can you imagine what that game never would have taken off at all? So anyways, the point is that I think maybe he had like a 2-3 year contract, and they said, listen, we'll pay you for a couple of years. Get this game off the ground for us. See if you can get some post-game content out, whatever. After that, you're free to do whatever you want. And then at that point, he's probably looking around. He's probably having a couple of beers with his old buddies, right? And then they're like, why don't you come work with us? We're working on a new project. We'd love for you to do that. And that's where Sony comes in and says, you know what? Whatever he's making, give him another $50,000 on top of it. Get him to come work for us.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He's
I don't blame him one bit.
He's amazing,
so do it.
And he's been dealt a hand to try and fix something that is very difficult to fix. And we've known from the reports about 343 that the leadership has been very difficult, and they kicked some of them out of the way to reduce friction. So Joseph Staten, they brought in Joseph Staten to get Crackdown off the freaking production line. Yikes. What a mess. The guy deserves much better. I just put up a poll. Where do you think Joseph Staten goes? Is he going to Bungie or another PlayStation studio? Because maybe they're just going to make... You're right. I mean, I like your idea, Mag, that he's going to be a concierge of a consultant on the games as a service team. Like
Why
maybe
not?
that's what they're bringing him in. Hey, Joseph Staten, we want you to lead what we're calling the games as a service division. That would be fantastic. Because he's all about, he's a closer.
He's the right man for the job, and as the poll speaking for itself, 74% to 26%, 74, well, now 73% saying he's going to Bungie. By the way, the winner of that last poll, the Resident Evil poll, was overwhelmingly, guys, Code Veronica is what everybody wants to see remade before RE5. So that was interesting too as well. So
Yep.
anyways, it's no Skillet will. It is not. It's confirmed that he's going over to another studio, most on the PlayStation side, because they're saying where he's going is going to be very console war-y. The only console war that Xbox is really having is with PlayStation. Let's face it, they're not having an issue with Steam, and they're certainly not in direct competition.
I mean, they like Steam and Xbox to get along very, very well. Hey, Clutch Quando sends a 3-month Game Pass Ultimate code, which is worth, I don't know, like $30 or something. That code is in the chat. It's been in there for about 10 minutes. Thank you so much for doing that. Let's see. We've got... Oh, yeah. Assassin also asks, what game or studio do you want to see from Xbox in June? Oh, man, that's a whole other discussion. I don't know if we can get into that right today, but...
I just say I want to see Fable. That's it.
I don't think...
I just want to see, you know what, or Indiana Jones. Give me Indiana Jones. I want to see Indiana Jones gameplay. That's it.
Okay.
Give me my Xbox Uncharted / Tomb Raider. Give me that. That's it.
Yeah, because I want to see Avowed because at this point, Avowed gameplay and what we know the game to look like just does not even exist at this point. And I thought maybe the game might be ready by the end of the year. A year ago, I would have told you it's probably coming out in the end of 2023, and now cricket sounds. Juggernaut says, does anyone remember Kakuto Chojin from the original Xbox? I really don't know that library of games because I didn't have an original Xbox till 07. Kotu Chojin, I don't know that game. Not you, Maggie, huh?
No, it's not ringing any bells. I don't recall.
No.
To be quite honest. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know, but I will try to remember to check it out. Jonas Sadat, thank you for the Super 2. He says, it's April and we're feasting on Game Pass already. Yeah, there's like, I don't know, there's a handful of big games already. And I'm hearing good things about this version of Ghostwire Tokyo. Like I said, it's got more content than the launch version on the PlayStation 5. And we'll see how it goes. I got to add Ghostwire Tokyo to the Open Critic list when the game launches on Xbox. Yudana Kizada with the $2 super says, shout out to Clutch Kwando, gave away 3 months Game Pass Ultimate. And Nintendo on Otaku says, Xbox can't win 2023 because Zelda Tears of the Kingdom exists. No funny thing.
That's true. That's a thing.
I mean, it is a big thing. So
they're going to get 10s across the board just because it's Zelda. Like, I'm just telling you, that's just the way it is. I'll bet my left foot that IGN gives it anything less than a 9.5, I'll be absolutely... Well, I'm not going to give my left foot. I need my left foot. Let's just say, you can have this pen. Okay, that's a lot easier than removing my foot. Listen.
Is it?
It's going to get a 10 out of a 10 from IGN. Wait,
where was the pen?
Just because it's Zelda. The pen was just on my desk. Nowhere nefarious. Just a regular pen. Well, now, I'm just telling you right now.
Now I know. The value has dropped significantly, even though your original deal you're going to strike for us.
It's not XNC After Dark, so we're going to leave it at that. Listen, it's going to get 10 out of 10s across the board because it's Zelda. I thought that Breath of the Wild was good. It wasn't. It did not like. It didn't cure world hunger like they were making it sound.
Did you finish it?
It was just like, no, I didn't finish it. I wasn't interested. Like, listen, when I beat you with a stick and the stick keeps breaking, then I'm not going to get it.
Okay, that's early on in the game. So this weekend, my son and I actually docked the Switch up on the TV, and we were playing. I played a little bit on the Switch, and then we docked it and played it on the TV. And I was like, I just don't get what the allure of this game is. It's very dull, and I'm not sure it gets better because you're only in the first hour. And then my son started finding like swords and unlocking like little things, and I'm like, do you like this? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, do you love it? And he's like, eh. And I'm like, okay. I'm sure it gets amazing because I've only heard great things about it. But every time I try it, I'm like, but I'm a horrible person.
Exactly.
But Tears of the Kingdom would be huge.
Thank you. Cord Wainer, the best comment here. The pen is mightier than the foot. You win the internet for tonight, my friend. Sorry, carry on.
The pen is mightier than the foot. Malcolm with another super says $2 rage moment. Ninja Gaiden 2 on Xbox 360. Never again.
Fair.
I think I was playing.
Those games
I was playing 2.
Those games were stupid. They're so great, but they're so stupid at the same time.
I had fun the first 2 hours, and then I got to one part where I just couldn't beat the enemy, and I was like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna do this.
Forget it. Yeah, I rented them from Remember Blockbuster, guys? That's when I used to rent the 360 games that I wasn't 100% on. So I remember renting like the Ninja Gaiden games from Blockbuster because I'm like, I played Ninja Gaiden way back in the day, and then I played that, and I was just like, forget it. You could take. I said it back to Blockbuster.
Those things they're so successful, but I'm like, why don't they make? Okay, stay with me here. But have you guys seen Bionic Commando Rearmed? It's the 2D, really beautiful.
Yeah. I love that.
Why don't they do Ninja Gaiden like that? Like do a side scroller where you hop back and forth and platform. Like I would much rather play a reimagined 2D side scrolling, fast paced Ninja Gaiden than a Dark Souls on crack cocaine. Trail Roberts with $2 says, I'm a truck driver and I swear, but not on games. He doesn't swear when he's playing games. He's like, what if you play a driving game? Then do you swear, Trail? We got to know that.
Well, that's a good point. Like maybe like trucking simulator. Pencil Karate, by the way. It's at the middle-aged game guy with a GY at the end. If you want, my Twitter, you could check me out there. By the way, so he was asking what my Twitter handle was.
Oh, okay.
You could check out go to the media side. You can see all the videos I posted. I posted
Pencil. What was the guy's name? Pencil Karate. That's a cool name.
I love it. It's a great name. It's not as good as Kung Fu Hot Dog, but you know.
Yeah, I like that one too. I think they kind of work together. Hold on, let me end this poll so I can get this out of the way. I just saw Mr. Ordinary VX says the SNL pin is mightier, which is Sean Connery reading the names wrong. I'll take the penis mightier for 3,000.
That's right, Trebek.
Those are so funny. Christian 5916 says, I think Joseph Staten is going to Sony Santa Monica. That's a good guess. Carl Andrews Jr. with the $2 says, what if Joseph Staten goes to Insomniac Games? That's another great guess and another great super.
Yeah.
Bunty with the $5 super says, name 1 year Xbox and PlayStation had a great year in the same year as both companies release a game a year apart. Great show. He's so right. Like, haven't you noticed this? You followed this long enough, Mag, where PlayStation has a really great year, and then when they have a slow year, Xbox has a good year? Has it been like that?
It's the slowest boxing match of all time, where like one throws a haymaker and then it takes 11 months for the other one to throw a haymaker back, right? So it's like I said, it's like watching like a boxing match that's been going on for 20 years, and it's just like I said, yeah, it's right. You very rarely get the 1-2 punches back and forth and just hammering each other. Like it doesn't really work that way. It's always one has a great year, the other one has a better year the next year, and then the next year it's back to Sony, then the next year it's back to Xbox, and you know what I mean. So it's kind of funny because, but I got to tell you, the Xbox One gen, those first 3 years, they were pretty damn good. I mean, a lot of people said a lot of smack about like Xbox One. They had a great first couple of years in there. They had some great titles. It was better than
PlayStation's, and they got zero credit for it. Because Rise Son of Rome was great, but it got horrible reviews, and it just didn't do enough
Rising 3, and they still had they had all these games. And if I'm not mistaken, they still had the Call of Duty for the first year or two. They still had the Call of Duty marketing rights. They had the Rise of the Tomb Raider. Was it Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Gears 4. Even Dead Rising 4, which I think is fantastic. I don't know how you could not play that game and not have a smile on your face. And the game got horrible reviews.
Dead Rising 3 was better, in my opinion. But, like, they had great games.
Oh, and then Dead Rising 3 was so ugly, thow, Mag. Like, Dead Rising 4 is so pretty.
Yes, it was. But like, and then they had the exclusive rights to the Tomb Raider for the second game. I can't remember if it was Rise of the Tomb Raider. I can't remember the name of it. But anyways, either way, it was one of those Tomb Raider games.
Rise of the Tomb Raider, yeah.
It was the second one. What the hell was the third one called?
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Shadow. Okay,
Shadow was really light on combat segments.
And guys, Titanfall was an Xbox exclusive as well.
Mag, so, Titanfall is what I was not going to get an Xbox. And my buddy goes, come over. Remember the one I told you that spiked the controller and ripped his headset off?
Yeah.
That was right at the end when the Xbox One was being announced, right about then. And then fast forward like 6 months later, he's like, you got to come over and try out this Xbox. And I remember holding the Xbox One controller. Because where I live, you couldn't get hands-on with an Xbox because at GameStop, they said in this region, they won't allow us to bring in the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One because we have too much history of vandalism inside the stores. So they wouldn't, they weren't allowed to get, so I never had hands-on. I went over and I held that controller. You guys don't remember this, but when you reloaded the gun, the rifles in Titanfall 1, there was a little shake in the rumble when you'd pop the mag out and put it in. And you didn't have that before. You only had rumble when you were recoiling shooting. And it just, I don't know, they just elevated everything. And the games look incredible. And it was so fun. Xbox One had an incredible first 2 years, even with that Kinect. Why are we even talking about this? But
I don't know.
We made it through, didn't we? We made it through.
Yes, we did.
Let's see. Trail Robert says, yes, I do swear, but don't tell my mom. He's looking at his picture. He doesn't have to worry. Well, I guess our moms can kick our butts sometimes if they, throw a shoe at you if you swear too much. But yeah, but no, we appreciate that. Yeah. We were all over the board today, Mag. I really feel like we were, and we were going to talk about the Starfield thing, the Xbox event, but we're probably going to cover that in depth next week.
We have time.
We have time. I mean, today.
No, not tonight. Not tonight. We have time before the show. We got like 2 months.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot to dig into, but the news today was that they know what time it is, that it's going to be a 90-minute show for Xbox and 30 minutes afterwards dedicated to just Starfield. So we will dig into what to expect. Jess Gordon's been putting polls out there. What do you think's going to miss? What do you think's going to hit for the show? What are they going to skip, right? So there's a lot to dig into. And we've been here for 2 hours, and that's about all we can take before we have to go have an insurer and take a nap, right, Mag?
That's it, man. I'm done. I got to go to the bathroom. I drank 3 bottles of water when I'm sitting here. And like when you're in a panel, you could disappear for 10 minutes. But when it's just 2 of you, I'm like, what am I going to be like? All right, Colt, talk to yourself like a crazy person for 5 minutes while I have an Austin Powers pee for 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah. I know. That's why I use a rubber band. It holds everything back for the most of the show. But Pencil Karate says Titanfall 3 is a must. Yeah. Let me make sure there's nothing left hanging in the breeze. You guys are amazing. Please hit the like button. This is episode 97. We'll be on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and a couple other places on demand. Thank you so much. Meg.
Yes.
What are you going to play this week? Are you going to dive into Ghostwire Tokyo? Are you going to mess with it?
No. Not yet, because very much like Randolph Thor, I know I joke, I know I talk smack about the guy all the time, but it's all just jokes. I do play the way he does, where I focus on one game at a time, and it's not because I can't, I just don't like it. I like to be enveloped in one experience at a time. So right now, I'm about 5-6 hours into Resident Evil 4, and I'm going to stay there until I get that platinum. After that, then I'm going to I'm going to give Ghostwire Tokyo a shot. I'm going to see if I like it. If I like it, then I'll stick with it. If not, then I'm going to move on to the plethora of other games that are coming out in 2 weeks. We got Jedi Survivor, we've got Dead Island 2, and then of course on the PlayStation side, I've got that DLC for what's it called, Burning Shores there for Forbidden West.
Burning Bushes or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Moses and the Burning Bushes, whatever the hell it's called. Yeah, so we got all that coming up.
Let me ask you real quick. Yeah. Do you think that Stellar Blade game is going to do very well? I call it the butt simulator. It's like the girl with the shiny pants. And what do you think that game's going to do?
You know what? Listen, if no one's talking about it, that means it's going to... I'm not saying the game's going to be, as the kids say, mid. I'm just saying the reception so far doesn't seem to be like it's setting the world on fire. But once again, I'm going to be fair. I'm not going to say too much until it's in my hands, assuming that it ever gets to my hands. Like I'll be able to, that I play the game. If I don't play the game, then you won't hear about it.
I'll rely on some reviews and the score,
and then the community
to make a decision. Yeah.
We have so many people in this community. I've got thousands of people that hit me up all the time and tell me stuff when I ask a question. They're very honest about it and they're great about it. So we'll see what happens. But either way, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to focus on Resident Evil 4 for this entire week going into the next show.
Okay. I think I'm just kind of messing around with MLB The Show, and I've been playing a lot of Forza Horizon, and I'm going to play Ghostwire. I need to get back to Resident Evil, but sometimes you just don't feel it, I guess. But I will get back to it. But hey, we really appreciate you guys stopping by and supporting the show. It means a lot. The chat's great. You guys are really, Mag, thanks for being here and hanging out with me and doing the show. I'm having a good time.
We're going to do this again. Man. It was a great show.
Yeah, we're going to do this again. We'll come back. We'll come back on Monday, and I need to make some videos. Somehow I crossed over into the 153,000 subscribers, but typically the shows don't really garner a lot of people to the show. But I really appreciate all you guys' support. Things have been kind of quiet, and I'll get back to work. And my arm hurts. I can't make videos with one arm. And I'm just kidding, but we'll be back. But we appreciate everything. Mag, any final words before we go?
No, everything's good, guys.
Any final insults to give me?
No insults this week. And then the chat's actually been quite kind this week, so you don't have me yelling at anybody in the chat. But by the way, Pierre David Moreau, thank you for the tip about Resident Evil 4. I appreciate that. He said it in capital letters, so obviously that I could see it, right? So I did see it. Thank you, Pierre. So I appreciate that. But anyways, guys, it's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll get back to Resident Evil because I like that you keep getting money when the enemies keep coming. You can kind of farm your way into a better situation. So yeah, thanks a lot. This will be, I'll try and get the timestamps and all that stuff, but you already know if you've been this far. Thank you so much. I'm going to hit the outro. Mag, I'll see you next week. Let's play some Dead Island in a couple weeks.
I look forward to it. Good night, everyone.
Later. Good night.